Look at that guy.
Vanna White. Welcome in to a Tuesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show live, powered and driven here by Go Chevrolet. We're going to talk recruiting in the second hour today with our guy, Shea Dixon. As always, every day, Go Chevrolet. Check them out, GEAUXchevrolet.com. And here in Baton Rouge, Go Express Auto Sales. Out in LaPlace, you can pick up a new car at Go Chevrolet. Our spice is officially Papa Earl's Spice. Remember our friends over at Papa Earl's. Pick them up anywhere you shop locally. You can pick them up at Rouse's, at High Neighbor, at anywhere you shop locally here. Remember, 30% less sodium than the competition. So if you're looking to keep the salt out of the diet and you're looking to spice up the food, pick up Papa Earl's today. True Blue Water, TRUBluewater.com. Every morning is our official water. If you want to jump onto the delivery route, you can. All you got to do is log online to TRUBluewater.com. Metropolitan Health Group is our official phone line sponsor. And as we said, Shea Dixon will be there in the second hour as we will talk recruiting. Shea will not be on the phone line. He's actually coming in this morning to the Noodle as he will be here. We have a text into Jay Johnson. I know it's game day, so if Coach Johnson responds back, hopefully we can mention and talk to him today before LSU gets back out onto the diamond tonight as they are going to take on UL Monroe. It has been announced that Devin Fontenot is going to get the start in that 6:30 first pitch that will be featured on the SEC Network. Plus, this weekend, LSU with 3 games set versus Auburn. So hopefully we can set the table with Coach Johnson at some point coming up here before we get out of here at 9 a.m. this morning. Katie is dealing with carpool this morning. She'll be in at some point before we log out of here at 9 a.m. And Stewie is here, and Lloyd is here. There is Coach Johnson returning the text, and he is in 7:30 this morning. We will talk to the LSU head baseball coach and get the latest from Coach Johnson on the weekend.
What time do you think he wakes up?
That's a good question. We'll ask him.
Because he
I'd
feels
say
like a
4:30.
grinder. Yeah, he seems
4:30.
like, I would say Willie probably held pole position. Coach O never went to sleep. And then you would be in the running, too, also, as somebody that wakes up very early.
3 o'clock, 3 a.m. today.
I'm getting the 3:30 club. I tried 4:30.
Sounds like it.
Right. But it's the way of the world. But it feels like Jay Johnson's a grinder.
My favorite part of the day, though, when I'm up and it feels like nobody else is.
Yes.
It's actually the most calm part of the day. Today's going to be wild. We're going to be over at LSU for the NIL event. Make sure that if you're interested,
Stewie, post the link.
Come over there. Lod Cook, get it up, Stewie, the link. Tyron Matthew is not here. Get that thing down. For God's sakes. It was great to see the Badger yesterday. But the NIL event coming up today on campus at the Lod Cook Hotel and Conference Center. We'll be there for the 11:30 start. Walk-up tickets still available. Stewie's putting the link inside YouTube. Click on the link if you're looking to jump in. See us. Looking forward to seeing our friend Tom Granning from GoMart is going to be there today as we will see Tommy over there and hope to see you there. As we said, Crowd Push, who we have talked about here before, who gives the fans the opportunity to help with NIL, has really stepped up here and become a sponsor of today's program. So shout out to Crowd Push, and you can learn more about Crowd Push if you make it in there today and about how your business can help NIL with student athletes on LSU's campus. Thank you for everyone who was a part of yesterday's show. We apologize for our technical difficulties and Mikey Matuk's show for Mic'd Up. I know Mikey was really looking forward to talking to Sam Burns here, as Sammy's got an opportunity to play the Augusta course, the Augusta National this week. But I think it kind of worked out for Matuk.
I was about to say, kind of a bad thing turns into a good thing.
I don't know if this may have been a blessing in disguise here for Mic'd Up, as Sam Burns is going to play Augusta National on Wednesday. Then he's going to stop by Matuk's show on Thursday to recap that. So it will be a special edition of Mic'd Up coming your way this week. Make sure you are subscribed and keeping yourself notified for all the content that's coming out there so you can't miss Sam Burns stopping by later this week. Hopefully you caught yesterday's sit-down here over at the Noodle on FM Digital Media's campus with Tyron Matthew, the Honey Badger, who was in studio with us. It was a really cool afternoon over here. Everybody was excited to see the Badger, obviously walking through, but 45 minutes with him in a sit-down where we talked about everything from free agent. The only thing that I thought we left off the table was Tyreek Hill going to Miami.
Yeah. I could see whenever you sent the text, you're like, I feel like we hit everything, and then it hits you like later. I don't think that's that big of a deal. We kind of, hate to say it, we kind of crushed it.
It was
good on you.
Well, look, it was good on him.
Oh, I mean,
really,
he's the
because
best.
he answers all the questions.
Yes.
There's nothing that really feels like is off limits.
I mean, you hit probably the biggest pressure point that you could with the obviously like marijuana thing that you were able to ask the question. He handled it like somebody that is an absolute consummate professional, because it's good to ask him those questions, because if you didn't, you don't want to leave it on the table.
Sure. But really appreciative for him stopping by yesterday and being as open and kind with his time as he was yesterday. Nearly spent he was here in the studio for over an hour, but 45 minutes we spent on camera with him answering questions, and it was awesome. It was awesome for our show. It was awesome for FM Digital Media to have him in the studio yesterday and talking a lot about it. And our friend Mark Verrett, who that was another part that I thought I left out yesterday, was not really giving the proper presentation to our guy, but Mark was here. Mark was able to take a picture with Matthew once he presented us the art here at FM Digital Media. And Lloyd, if you want to get on a two-shot here and bring in Mark's latest piece of art here for the studio. As you know, Mark has really decorated our whole place. If it's not the watch room, if you've seen the watch room with the Burrow and the Chase mural that is on the wall, or the coffee table that we routinely use for our Foodie Fridays that is painted up by Mark, or the state of Louisiana, as you see right there behind Tyrann Mathieu, or the Alvin Kamara over my right shoulder, that is right there. All of this is
whole studio,
the entire studio. All of this is done on the creative mind and artistic talent of Mark Verrett, of Mark Fresh Art on social media. And it was a really cool opportunity, I thought, for all of us to witness the exchange, or not necessarily the exchange, but just Matthew seeing the piece for the first time and seeing the artist catch that expression from Matthew when he saw it. And you can see Ty was kind of even like taken back, like just how cool it is, the attention to detail on it, man. This is from the Kentucky game his sophomore year on the scoop and score, when he scoops it up after the sack fumble and has that great celebration in the south end zone that Saturday afternoon in Tiger Stadium. But this is the newest addition to the set here. Compliments of our friend Mark Fresh Art, Mark Verrett. Make sure you follow him on social media. Make sure you hit him up. I've seen he put together a reel on making this piece for the studio and for FM Digital Media. It kind of gives you a behind the scenes look of this thing coming to life, and just how talented Mark is, man. I mean, he really is. He makes it look so simple.
Just having fun.
And you see this thing up close, man. And I mean, even through your screen, I think you can recognize the attention to detail and just how lifelike it is. I mean, even Kamara. I mean, like this Kamara right here. I was in New Orleans over the weekend, and we stopped by a store, and I wish I could remember this store's name, but it had figures like this. Like it was kind of like fathead type stuff where you could pick it up and move it. It wasn't necessarily a sticker. It was almost like a prop. And the Camaro that they had, I mean, I was like, that holds nothing to the one that Mark painted for. I mean, like, call my guy, bro, for God's sakes. I mean, if this is what you're looking to do. But he's easy to find if you're looking for him. He is on social media, as we've said, at Mark Fresh Art. Mark Verrett, our good friend, is there and has done just incredible work for our studio, man. All right, lots to get to here on today's show. As we said, Jay Johnson will be here at 7:30 this morning. LSU basketball has added a transfer, and they lose another one to the transfer portal. We will talk about that coming up here in the next couple of minutes. But as we said, LSU baseball, it is Tiger Trivia Tuesday here on the Jordy Culotta Show. So hopefully we can get to our trivia today. There you go. There is Mark Fresh Art and Tyrann Mathieu yesterday in studio on the exchange. And then later we will talk about LSU spring football, getting back onto the practice field, some of the storylines. Shea Dixon, as we said, is going to be here in an hour or two, so we'll ask him about the latest in recruiting, as LSU and recruiting has been doing a really good job of staying out there and staying relevant. And we will talk to Shea about some of the stories here during the spring campaign of recruiting for LSU football as you get a look at some of the social media put out by Mark Freshart there yesterday and handing that over. That was a cool day for us, man.
That was a great day for us. Everybody seemed to run to social very quickly.
Yeah.
For all the boys. Cloud demons are out there, dude.
Noah was sidting here trying to find a caption.
Noah got retweeted by Tyrann Matthew.
I
dude.
know.
He got the gold.
I'm really upset about
No,
that.
of course, everybody was chasing it. I didn't even post it. I look like a lesbian in my picture, so I just kept it to myself.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, bad hair.
You got to post it, bro.
Yeah,
you got to post that. You almost have to embrace it.
I didn't even have a haircut, but I had to post
Tyrann.
it.
You know.
Yeah.
Savvy sold separately. Keep my guy all right. You don't want to be associated with me.
The Honey Badger jumpsuit.
Oh, that was, I think
cool.
it was
The Jordan Brand jumpsuit. That was actually a present from Jordan Brand to him for the Pro Bowl, he told me.
After he gives out better than Earl
he had the
Thomas.
Pro Bowl Jordans on too, the Pro Bowl
I think he had his
fours.
entire Pro Bowl fit
Yeah,
on yesterday.
just smooth.
Awesome.
Just
Yeah,
him.
it looked
Just
dude, and
tired.
he saw this and he was like, "Wait, that's the Kentucky game." Like we were all like, "Do you know he's at Kentucky?"
Yeah.
And he was like, immediately knew. And then we were talking about West Virginia goes. I was like, "Dude, if you score, he goes Heisman. Like if he scores just that one, he goes this close."
Inches. Like
Inches. That was awesome, man. Great
Photographic
job.
memory.
Dude, it seems like it.
I mean, like you can tell, like his football IQ when he was talking about getting ready to get his team. I mean, he's like, I'm a football guy. As soon as I get my team, man, mail me the iPad, give me the playbook, let me talk to the coach, let me get to work. And I think that's why he's so endearing to all those guys. I thought his Bill O'Brien story was great. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, it's like Bill O'Brien's nothing but a football dude. He loves football guys, and he thought that I was the ultimate football dude. And 2 weeks into our almost 1 year marriage together, I mean, he was ready to hand me the keys to the car because he was like, look, man, you're exactly who I thought you were going to be. And now I need you to embrace that in the locker room. And here's the captain. Here's the C to wear on your chest. It was just cool. It was cool to go into depth about his career. That's the first time we had really sat down. I've always interviewed him in a radio format where you've got breaks to get to and you can't necessarily get into some stories, or you got to worry about the clock and you got to worry about things of getting out. You know what I mean? Just another reason why traditional media is dying. Because you have the option to come to a place like this where Tyrann Matthew shows up. Tyrann was supposed to be here yesterday at 4 o'clock. That was what we anticipated the window to be. 3:30 to 4 o'clock is what he initially told us. He had some things that happened in Baton Rouge that he got finished with a little bit earlier than he thought was going to happen, and some of the things that were scheduled for yesterday got bumped to later this week. So he had an open afternoon, and he said, man, I can get to you guys as fast as you need me to. And we were sitting at a lunch meeting and said, hey, how about 30 minutes from now when Mikey wraps up? And he said, no problem. And this platform, right, gives the opportunity for that stuff to happen. Like, hey, it doesn't necessarily have to be in the 7 to 9 a.m. window. Doesn't necessarily have to be, in a 15-minute window for an interview because you've got segments and sponsors to promote. On this platform, where we've got the liberty to kind of plan the show around the subject's schedule. A guy like Matthew, who's very busy, we're very open and receptive and appreciative to his time to allow him to kind of look, you pick the window. Whatever time you want to show up, you let us know, man, and we'll be ready. And then you can sit down with him and talk for 45 minutes. And you can, talk to him about everything. Anything that obviously that he wants to discuss. And yesterday he was very open, very honest, and I thought very forthright about everything that we talked about, whether it was marijuana, free agency, time at LSU. I mean, the picture that he painted to that morning that Les Miles called him into his office and told him that it was over. I mean, it took me back to that day. It was raining. It was dark. It was a bad day from the time that you woke up. Before you even got the news that Matthew was gone, it was just going to be a shitty day.
Well, that's what he says. It was just one of those days.
It was. I remember leaving Guarantee and driving to the facility in my head thinking, there's no way they're about to throw Tyrann Mathieu off the team, because word had started to buzz, like, what is this press conference about? And I remember one of the student workers, or one of the students in the sports information office, sent a text message to Moscona and I saying, you guys don't want to miss this one.
Oh, and not for a good reason.
And I was thinking, what the hell is going on? It's only like 2 weeks into camp. It's a random, like, I think it was like a Friday morning, and you're bringing it, and people were like, I think it's about Matthew. I think it's about the Honey Badger. I think something's going on with Tyron. And I'm thinking, no, I mean, you're only calling a press conference for one reason.
It's not, you're not.
You know what I mean? You're not bringing everybody together to say, hey, Tyron got in trouble. You know what I mean? Like you're bringing everybody together to say it's over. And I remember driving over there thinking, it's raining, it's dark. This doesn't feel good, man. And then I remember we opened the door, and the press conferences used to be in the LSU football facility. They have moved them now to the Lawton Room, which is a part of Tiger Stadium. But at that time, the press conferences were held in the football facility in the team room. So Miles would stand behind, a big podium that he would address the team with. And when you open the door to get into that room, it was cold. It was pale. It was stark. It was a setup for disastrous news. And when Miles walked in, he was almost like a punch-drunk fighter getting out of the corner in the 12th round of a heavyweight bout where his legs looked like Jell-O and his face had no life in it. And when he said the news that morning that Matthew was off the team, there was a gasp in the room. And rarely do you see with, people like the Ron Higgins of the world who hold such professionalism in high regard inside the press room, right? Where you can't be friends with the subjects and you can't have a relationship and you can't talk to these people. You got to keep the wall up and all this stuff. I mean, it was a true, like, when he said that we had to release Tyrann Mathieu off of the team and he is no longer a part of the LSU football program, I mean, there was a just shock that ran across that room. And for him to tell that story yesterday about that morning, about, getting the call. And as he said, as he pointed out, anytime you get a phone call early in the morning like that, ain't nothing good.
From the head man.
From nothing. And nothing going to be good about it, right?
Oof.
And, it's just taking us back to those moments, man. It was cool. It was a good day for our company.
Yeah, he painted an excellent picture of it, too. That, like you said, with the just the weather, and he knew, he's like, whenever my phone rang that early, he's like, I knew it wasn't going to be anything good, and it's less on the other end, and it's just...
And how, when he gets into the room, Miles is on one side of the table, he's on one side of the table, and they just kind of sit there and stare at each other in silence for, a couple of minutes, just kind of embracing the moment of, like, this is about to happen. I'm about to throw the best player in the country off the team for smoking weed. Even in 2011, 2012, I mean, for what it's looked at now, you know what I mean? It's so, there's a House bill right now that's asking to legalize it recreationally in Louisiana. That's getting some steam. It may not happen this session, but the next 3 sessions it'll happen.
Yeah, Stefanski will get it done.
And to think that's why LSU law. I mean, did you hear him talking about the TJ Yeldon screen yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he finished the sentence. I said a lot of people believe, if you go back and watch it, I said a lot of people believe if you're on the field for the TJ Yeldon screen, you pick that off. He goes, and you may not be able to hear it if you just listen to it once, but he says, in my sleep. I mean, he was like, I remember that moment. I remember that game. And that year was so hard for me. That was year was so tough for him. It was great, man. I just really want to convey how appreciative we are to have a guy like him give up an hour plus of his day and his time in Baton Rouge to come sit down and answer questions with us. And it was cool. I mean, it was obviously great content, and it was a good day for our company. Hayden Paris, we all know it wasn't just weed. What? You know something that we don't? What else was it?
You wish you'd have said something yesterday.
He failed multiple tests for marijuana. A lot. I mean, a lot of tests. But, I mean, it got to a point where the LSU compliance department said he can't continue to fail these marijuana tests without any repercussion. and nobody was strong enough within LSU football. Or as you hear him tell the story, maybe it was the best thing that ever happened to him in his life. But it's tough to imagine that type of player was thrown off for weed. You know, I mean, there was a lot of people smoking weed in college football programs in 2011. A lot of good players were smoking weed all over the SEC that were getting caught for it by their university, by the NCAA, and there was penalty behind the scenes that we didn't know about. But nobody was throwing anybody off, especially number 7 at LSU. I mean, the front runner for the Heisman Trophy going into the season, the best player in the country, undoubtedly. And really during that training camp, I mean, you could feel it. I mean, that defensive backfield was set to explode. Eric Reed, Thorold Simon, Tyrann Mathieu. Who's the corner opposite Claiborne? Not Claiborne, opposite Simon in 2012, because Claiborne was gone after 2011. He left and went to the draft. Was it Jalen Collins?
I think it was Jalen Collins.
5-star.
He got some burn that season. I don't know if he started.
He did. It was because he guarded Amari Cooper in that game.
Yeah, he did. It was Jalen Collins.
He guarded him pretty well.
Yeah, until he got that. Amari got that slant route.
Got that slant on him.
He was a second-round pick.
Second-round pick. He was a 5-star. He was a 5-star recruit.
He was a monster.
He was big time.
Yeah, he was the Corey Raymond mold of corner that they wanted to bring in, like you say at Thorold Simon and Mo Claiborne, where he was tall, lanky, and athletic and could just go.
Another big weed guy.
Big weed guy. Still burning.
Still burning. Well, he's got a big podcast, huh?
My best friend from high school, that's his cousin.
Podcast?
Yeah, pretty much a podcast. But yeah, big weed guy. So
hey, good for him.
All right, Jay Johnson coming up here in a couple of minutes. Remember, Daily, we're brought to you by RMB Builders. Our friend Rhett Bourgeois and his crew over at the house right now, helping me out with a door, helping me out with some repairs around the house. Great as always. Open communication. You know when they're coming. You know when they're going. They tell you what the projects that they're going to handle every day is. Very organized. That's what I love about dealing with Rhett, man. I know nothing about construction. I come from contractors. My entire family was in construction, and I can't screw a light bulb in. I don't trust myself with a hammer and a nail around anything. So when Rhett and his crew come over and tell me what I need to have done to my house, I'm just trusting them blindly. And they pretty much lay out the entire operation, the entire project. They're open with you. They're communicating with you on when they're going to be there, when they're not going to be there. Kelly's at the house throughout the day. She's there working, so they give her a little bit of heads up that they'll be in, they'll be through. So, I mean, just the communication and the organization above everything else. The quality of work is phenomenal. You can log online to rmb-builders.com to see for yourself just the quality of work. Ask around town. Odds are you probably know somebody who has worked with Rhett, and that's the best way to figure out. Do they trust him? Did they have a good experience? I'd be willing to put this show's reputation on the line and say, not mine.
What's wrong with yours?
Let me back out of that one real quick. The show's reputation on the line and say that RMB is probably given a good experience to the person that you know, because everybody I talk to says that it's been phenomenal in just dealing with Rhett and his crew. And that part of it just takes the ease of mind and places it on the consumer. Right? You know when they're going to be there. You know what they're working on. You know what the costs are. You know if anything's going to go above the cost. You know if anything falls below the cost. You know what the material is. You know as much as you want to know from Rhett Bourgeois. As much as you want to know from your project, you can find out. And the quality work speaks for itself. rmb-builders.com. You want a custom design home. You need reconstruction on your home. They're commercially licensed, so if you have a project around the office, get in touch with them. Rhett Bourgeois and rmb-builders.com. Online is where you can find them. Jay Johnson, LSU head baseball coach, coming up next. Tigers with a busy week. UL Monroe in town tonight. Devin Fontenot going to get the start for the Tigers. And this weekend with a Thursday, Friday, Saturday set, Auburn will be in at the box taking on LSU. What did Coach Johnson learn about his team in Gainesville? We'll ask him next, coming up here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Papa Earl's, the fine spice, originating right down here in South Louisiana by our guy Mark Pop Norman. Developed it back in 2018 and won Amazon's Newcomer of the Year in 2019. They pride themselves in having 30% less salt and sodium than the leading brands at the same price point. You can find them locally. Look for Papa Earl's at Rouse's, Calandro's, Mathern's, High Neighbor, and more. True Blue Water, true hydration at its finest. Right now, you're only a few minutes away from getting your 5-gallon water delivered to you, just like we are over here at the UDL. All you got to do is log on to truebluewater.com. That's TRU, bluewater.com. The website's fantastic over at truebluewater.com. You can get your service and find out how quick it is. You can schedule a delivery, even hop on the billing system right there at truebluewater.com. TRU, bluewater.com. A local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz. Tom Granning from everybody over here at FM Digital Media, as he is our fuel sponsor. Whether it's fuel cards or snacks, he's keeping us going every day at FM Digital Media. If you're out on Highway 61, make sure and stop in and see him over at Go Mart. It is located in Natchez, Mississippi. It is our favorite convenience store, and it's for our guy Tom Granning, who supports us every day over here at FM Digital Media. LSU basketball picks up a commitment in the transfer portal. They lose another one to the transfer portal as well in Sharif O'Neal. We will tell you about that coming up here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Last night was opening night for Jay Johnson's radio show. That was over at TJ Ribbs. The new LSU head baseball coach was out meeting with the public for the first time on his radio show after a very successful weekend for the Tigers, as they travel down to Gainesville and take 2 or 3 from Florida in dramatic fashion. I thought that the offense was explosive on Saturday and Sunday and really got an opportunity to look at some new arms over the weekend as well. We welcome in Coach Jay Johnson back to the program here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Coach, good morning. Thank you for your time as always.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
What did you learn about your squad over the last 3 games in your first road trip in the SEC?
Yeah, obviously tough environment. Florida, just to be quite frank, is one of the programs that we need to try to catch back up to. So to go in there and win 2 from a program standpoint is a big deal. But in the shorter term, and probably more important for the now, we played a complete game in all 3 phases. Had a good offense for the most part. I mean, we've only had 2 games all year where we've scored less than 4 runs. So that showed up in a big way on Saturday and Sunday. Defensively, Saturday and Sunday we made 1 error. The 1 error was made with the game well in hand, so much better job by our defense. On the pitching side, we finally got some length out of some pitchers, which really simplified the rest of the game. And big tip of the hat to Sam Dutton and Grant Taylor on Sunday for going out there and against a good offensive team, only giving up 5 hits and 2 runs, and really allowed us to dominate the game, from start to finish and to win that series. And then, from a competitive standpoint, I've said this before we had even played a game, you could tell there's a lot of growing up to do within the team and the players and the program. And I believe that we did take a step in that direction. But baseball is not a game that you have it. It's a day-to-day deal, and it's about the team that plays the best that day. And so we need to do that again tonight.
Coach, you mentioned some of your new arms that you got to look at on Sunday. Samuel Dutton and Grant Taylor combined to limit Florida to only 2 runs as you guys won 11-2 over in Gainesville. How much is that? And your comments after the game was, I wish they would have done that in the fall. We would have known. How much do you continue to learn about your team here, these new faces, even though you've been around them for a couple of months, but they're proving and showing you things that can get them into the lineup and get them on the field each day.
Yeah, for sure. That's part of it. No matter if it's your first year, your 20th year, you're always learning things about your team. And I've always tried to kind of have this mentality, like, we're going to try to win every single game that we play. But while we're doing it, we need to learn what's our best team, how to line the pieces up better, what guys can handle certain situations, what guys can handle certain types of coaching, and go out and execute. And so we're getting there in that regard. I think with both of those guys, the carrying tool is their competitiveness and their makeup. They do have 3 pitches that they throw for strikes. You could see that even maybe as they were getting hit by our lineup, which is a good lineup. But it's been great to see their early season success for both Grant and for Sam.
Coach, you made a move in your infield. You mentioned the errors, the lack of errors that you had Saturday and Sunday. Thompson slides over to second base, and you moved Doty into the middle of the infield at shortstop. What was the thought behind that, and how did you like it after the move?
Yeah, I mean, like the thought behind it was like we've lost games because of our defense, and I want to win every game that we play, as I just said. I believe very much in Jordan. I believe very much in Cade, and both of them I could see becoming major league players someday. I really believe that. I think for Jordan, who's having a great year offensively, for him, he has made a massive leap and set a bunch of big hits for us. I just believe that it would slow the game down for him on that side of the diamond. He's got good actions. He's got good arm strength. And it did. I mean, Florida had 4 really good left-handed hitters. We were playing some pretty extreme shifts on. You look out there and you see Jordan, and you feel pretty good about that. And then Cade is just a tough-minded player and a very good player. And so if we put him at any position on the field, he would kind of try to figure it out in a way that was going to help us win. And I don't know that he's a natural shortstop, but I do know he's going to give us everything we got. He's going to do it with a tough mindset. And I think for now, for our program, that's more important than any type of tool.
Your headliners are smashing the ball, or they did over the weekend. Dylan Cruz, Jacob Berry, even Thompson. And Coach Braden Joubert continues to be a very consistent piece for you in the lineup. I think a lot of people expected Berry and Doty and Trey Morgan and Dylan Cruz to give you this pop and power. Joubert's been consistent. What can you tell us about him and what he gives you in the lineup?
Yeah, I mean, we won that weekend because of Braden. Like, it just kind of cut right through it. Not just the homers and the RBIs, but when they came were really, really critical times. He made a small adjustment this week. It's one we've kind of been working on since we've been here, to be honest with you. He's been able to do it at times, got off to a good start. The pitching ramped up quickly, went through a little bit of a dry spell for a little bit, but good kid. He's a good competitor, wants to win, and wants to be great. You mentioned those 4 guys, and he'll say to me, like, hey, I want to be thought of in the same way. Pretty good step towards that this weekend, for sure. So very happy for Braden. Really pleased with the work that he put in. Even Saturday morning at the ballpark, took some guys over there around 11. He was one of them, and to see it pay off immediately like that, I just think speaks to his ability and hopefully where he's going as a player.
Where are you from just an approach standpoint on your pitching staff going into the weekend? I know that you're kind of tinkering with money. Where is he from a health standpoint, and kind of how do you feel about your rotation with this an early week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
Yeah, that changes the week for sure. When you look at, it gets on you a day earlier. The 2 guys that through Sunday will not be available on Thursday. It's not in their best interest. You think Blake will go on on Thursday, and then Mikhail will factor into one of those 2 games. As we always do, I want to look at Auburn a little closer. They can hurt you. They have power. They're playing very well right now. They won 2 out of 3 at Texas A&M. Probably could have swept that series. The game they were losing, they were up 4-0 late, I believe. So we got to make sure we hit it right. And I'm not going to box myself into something that's not beneficial for our team. But I was pleased with our pitching throughout the weekend to go in there and only give up 17 hits in a very, very offensive ballpark. To to a team with, probably like us, there's 4 probably major league players in that lineup is a really good accomplishment for our pitching staff, and pleased with how all the guys contributed to that.
You announced that Devin Fontenot will get the ball tonight. What do you expect from him as he gets the start versus ULM, and what are the challenges that the Warhawks present to you?
Yeah, we want to get off to a good start is the first and foremost thing. He did not pitch over the weekend. He did pitch well out of the bullpen in that Louisiana Tech game last Wednesday. We're not closing the book on anything that could happen down the road, whether using, different starters, openers, those types of things. So I think it'll be good for him to start the game. We obviously have to pitch him with in mind that we will need him on the weekend against a very good Auburn offensive team. So it'll be a pitch count type deal. And then we'll pass along to a few other guys. I mean, we did get through the weekend without using Devin, Eric, Riley Cooper. So that's a good thing, relative to tonight's game. But with the game coming Thursday, you also got to be smart about how you use everybody. In terms of ULM, they played a really good schedule. They played a couple at Ole Miss. They played a series at Missouri. They just played a series against Coastal Carolina. Played Louisiana Tech in a midweek a couple weeks ago. Aggressive team, try to steal a lot of bases, so we got to manage the running game. The best way to defend the stolen base is to not let guys get on base. So hopefully our pitchers can attack the zone and do that.
Coach, you have forgotten more baseball than we'll ever know. You have seen and been in more experiences in baseball than we'll ever imagine. Have you ever seen or been a part of a team that's been hit by pitches like yours have, and then kind of over the weekend what that was about? I don't want to set something up for you, but that was just weird, right?
Yeah, I've gotten that question a lot. Yeah. I mean, it is part of our offensive deal, and I will say that. With that being said, I don't know that I've ever seen 8 in one game by,
right.
Predominantly one of the best pitching staffs in the country over the last 15 years. So that is a little strange, but it's a competitive deal, man. There's a good atmosphere there. The ballpark's nice, and, they're in the top 10, and our guys want to play better. And so, I mean, I think some kids probably just got going, running a little hot, and I just like the way our guys answered. The best way we could answer is continue to take quality at bats and separate the game, and that's what our players did. So I was very pleased with that.
Coach, you mentioned the way that your guys answered. Was there a temperament in the dugout where it's like kind of woke the boys up a little bit? Because you were, I don't want to say you were struggling, but coming off a loss on Wednesday, then you lose on Friday, then you start getting plunked a little bit. It gets a little dicey. Were you happy to see the way your team responded that way?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, really, the message was pretty simple going into Saturday. It's like, hey, look, we got to attack the game better than we are. I mean, Wednesday's game against La Tech, that's one of the worst regular season losses I've ever had personally. I mean, we're down 4, we come back, we're up 6-4. A couple of things go wrong, get into extra innings, have a chance to win twice, don't do it. And they're a good team. It's not taking anything away from them. They'll be in the NCAA tournament. They have a chance to host a regional again. But then to get on the plane and then you're staring Hunter Barco in the face, who's really good. And he kicked us in the teeth. I thought we competed fine, but he got us. And it was like, hey, look, we're not waiting for something to go wrong. And the level of engagement needs to rise from everybody. And I think that it did. And it doesn't mean that everything's fixed and all that, because the players have to recommit to it on a daily basis. That's what makes baseball unique. But I was pleased with what they did. And for me, it's like, hey, hopefully there's some positive reinforcement of what you can do. Now just do you have the self-discipline to continue to do that. And I'm looking forward to see that tonight.
Tigers outscored Florida 27-6 over the final 2 games on the weekend.
The boys up.
They whooped them, boy, on Saturday and Sunday. I know that everything's about the Warhawks today. Do you have a chance to peek ahead to Auburn? If so, what are the challenges that War Eagle presents coming in Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
Yeah, I think they're kind of hungry. They had a tough year last year. They really went to work in the transfer portal. Got a few week head start on it for me I was in Omaha and then getting the job here after the College World Series. So they have a couple players that have transferred in both on the mound and at the plate that add that, 23-year-old player to your, maturity dynamic to your rotation or to your lineup. They've swung the bat very well. I got a chance to peek a little bit at their Thursday night game a couple weeks ago against Ole Miss. So they have some hitters that can hurt you. They have some big arms on the mound. They're kind of like us from the pitching standpoint, doing it a little unconventionally, like with some openers and cutting the game up. I expect it to be a tremendous challenge. They got a great record. They won 2 out of 3 at A&M. Could have swept that series, as I said. Played Ole Miss tough the weekend before. So got a good challenge staring us in the face starting on Thursday.
Coach Jay Johnson and LSU improved to 17-7 overall last weekend, taking 2 of 3 from Florida. They will set up tonight versus ULM. That first pitch, 6:30 from the box, and then LSU at home for the weekend. Remember, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 3-game set coming your way between the Tigers and Auburn, starting on Thursday, 6 o'clock from Alex Box Stadium. Coach Jay Johnson and the Tigers looking to keep it rolling. Thank you, as always, for the time on game day, Coach. Good luck. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Yes, sir. There he is. Jay Johnson
Coach,
checking
if you're free,
in from...
we'll be there Friday if you want to come to Earl's before the game.
A little pregame.
A little booze.
That's good to hear from Coach Jay Johnson. That conversation brought to you by Edward Jones. Remember our friends over at Edward Jones. Get in touch with Daniel Newman. It's tax season. You're looking for some help and some direction here during this time of the year. Get in touch with our friend Daniel Newman. Daniel.Newman@edwardjones.com. He can answer all of your financial fiscal advice questions that you are searching for, whether you're looking for help on just investing or you need some help with Social Security, 401k, whatever it may be. I've always told you, if you are in the plant industry, if you work within the industrial industry, you really need to use Daniel Newman as a resource for you for your financial questions. He is an expert in that space. He has helped so many people out. Every time I go to his office, there's somebody either in the waiting room or in his office that is talking to him about how they can get their finances right. Are they doing the right thing? And they're usually in the plant industry because of Daniel's knowledge about that trade. Daniel.Newman@edwardjones.com is where you can get in touch with him via email or dial him directly. 225-261-8262. 225-261-8262 is the number. An experienced financial advisor that wants to work with you today and answer all your questions. Daniel.Newman@edwardjones.com. He is our financial advisor. He has helped us out tremendously, and he can help you out today. 225-261-8262 is the number to get in touch with Daniel. Make that call today and let him help you out with any financial questions that you may have. Good stuff from Jay Johnson and LSU baseball as the Tigers take the field tonight, 6:30 versus ULM. 3-game set versus Auburn, getting going Thursday, Friday, Saturday down here in Baton Rouge. Coach talking a little bit about that. LSU basketball is featuring some more turnover here, as Jeff Goodman was the first to report that LSU forward Sharif O'Neal is going to be entering his name into the NCAA transfer portal. Of course, Sharif is the son of maybe the most prominent LSU alumni in Shaquille O'Neal. O'Neal transferred from LSU to UCLA, or from UCLA to LSU back in 2020. He played in 2021, but had his season cut short with a foot injury. He averaged 2-2 in 14 games that season as a backup, but really was a boost of fresh air, a boost of energy off the bench for LSU this season. You could see his feet really starting to come underneath him later in the year. Now O'Neal joins Brandon Murray and Xavier Pinson as the third player to enter the transfer portal since Will Wade was fired and Matt McMahon was hired last week. Coach McMahon did land his first commitment as LSU's head coach on Monday. He signed Northwestern State transfer forward Kendall Coleman. Coleman, who is a sophomore from Shreveport, averaged 15 and 10 for Northwestern this past season. He had 16 and 13 in 33 minutes when LSU faced off against the Demons back in December. But this is the first signee for Matt McMahon and gives you an idea of just what LSU is going to be playing with. No disrespect to Coleman. Anytime you can average a double-double in college basketball, you're a heck of a player. But is he a Power 5? Is he a starter in the SEC? Is he a player competitive or skilled enough to keep you competitive in the league? When you look at who they've had committed and the guys that they had coming back, it's going to be a totally different team for LSU. And I don't mean to compare the past always with what's going on with LSU, but it's going to be tough to not recall when you watch LSU next year just how good they were going to be. It really is. I mean, maybe down the line as McMahon has a chance to build this thing, and he will. The contract says so, with the years that is contractually bound him to the job. But it's going to be hard to not watch next season, just next season. And I'm not saying that you sail this ship all the way into 4 or 5 years into McMahon's tenure and think about what could have been, but to not play what was supposed to be next year game with the guys that they had coming in, it's going to be a tough game to stay away from when you see that's who they're rolling out there. It's going to be a totally different team. And I'm not trying to disrespect anyone, and I'm not trying to discount any player. And I hope that any player that comes into this program can get themselves to an all-conference type level in a contending championship quality team, on a championship quality team. But immediately next season, when you look around in the SEC and Julian Phillips is probably going to be at Tennessee or Auburn, and Traore from the big center from Arizona is probably going to be at Auburn next season. Who knows where Brandon Murray and Xavier Pinson are going to be? Where's Sharif O'Neal going to be? Is Ace Miller going to be here? I mean, just all these guys that were supposed to be in one locker room with LSU are going to be spread all over college basketball, and it's going to be it's going to suck to watch them just not playing in Baton Rouge.
I think if there's one caveat to take from it, or one maybe good thing that you can find from it, is that neither one of them have had, when I talk Xavier Pinson or Sharif, they haven't closed the door on LSU yet. It's like you see them, they hit the portal, but they also have kept LSU in there, in the running to return, which I think is interesting because when a lot of people hit the portal, they're leaving to leave. It seems like they want to give McMahon a chance, but they know that they also should probably look for greener pastures. But I think if there's one thing to find a little positive from, it's that they don't exactly want to just shut the door. They haven't closed the book yet on one Matt McMahon and LSU basketball.
Scott Oldham, Jordy, different circumstances, but it reminds me when Calipari bailed on Memphis and took all the coaches and recruits with him. It's gonna be dark for a minute. R. Ferrara, the guy did discover Ja Morant. Maybe he's out finding jewels, hopefully, but you need to be updated on the story of how Ja Morant found Murray State and how Murray State found Ja Morant. I mean, it's a movie. I mean, it is a Hollywood script on how Ja Morant ended up at Murray State. Now, I think that the part that Murray State deserves credit for, and Matt McMahon being that guy, is that Ja Morant was developed. And Ja Morant was a lot better of a player from the time that he showed up to Murray State for the time that he left. And now he's probably the face of the league, and Murray State had something to do with that. So from the development standpoint, a lot of trust in McMahon and his staff and being able to develop guys and develop a team and to develop skill on players. My biggest question is, can he get the players? And like we talked briefly about Monday, I don't know how much we talked about this story, but they did add assistant coach Cody Toppert to the program over the weekend. Toppert is a guy who's coming from Memphis, and he's been at Memphis for the last 3 seasons. And if you just saw, Memphis was hit with a couple of level 1, level 2 violations, which are aimed at Anthony Hardaway, at Penny Hardaway. Lack of institutional control, lack of head coaching control.
Blah, 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 blah.
My point is, Cody Toppert's been down in the funk, and he knows what it takes to get players. And I know that LSU's got to walk a fine line, and they got to stay as steady as she goes. You got to stay straight here. But, the name of the game in college basketball is getting players, and Toppert knows how to do that. And there's certain conversations that you got to be ready and willing to have, even in an NIL world, that you better be prepared for, especially in this conference, because now here, look around. Got the best facilities, got the best coaches, got the biggest budgets, and they're getting players. So if you want to be competitive in the SEC, you got to check all those lists. But that big box is you better have a roster. You better have some guys, or you're going to end up looking like Buzz Williams, a guy that can coach, smart basketball mind, but he's going to get no players. So he's overachieving with an undermanned roster and showing off. Look, I can coach the game. Well, go get a couple of players, Buzz, and see what happens. But it's very competitive in this league now on cornering players. And I think Toppert is a step in the right direction of having those conversations and getting into those living rooms and being able to, at least have the chat with whoever matters in the process of landing big-time guys, big-time players, because that's the name of the game. That's how you get to win. I mean, doesn't matter how smart of a coach you are, man. Doesn't matter how good you dress. Doesn't matter how much you bench. If you don't have players, you can win 7 in a row and still miss the tournament. Remember, Daily, we're brought to you here on the Jordy Culotta Show by Cajun Ready Mix Concrete. CajunRMC.com. Get in touch with our friends. CajunRMC.com today. Let them help you out with your project. No project too big, too small for our friends over at Cajun. Whether it's residential, commercial, industrial, or municipal, Cajun Ready Mix Concrete provides ready mix concrete products and services to meet all of your concrete needs. They got 9 locations of plants around the greater Baton Rouge area, concrete plants around the greater Baton Rouge area. What's that mean to me, Jordy? That means if you order concrete from Cajun Ready Mix, it's going to be on time and to the exact specification. So it doesn't matter if you're a contractor and need it on your construction site, or if you're just a homeowner and want to repair your driveway. There's no project too big, too small for Cajun Ready Mix. Get in touch with them. Tell them you heard it here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Easiest way to find them is just by logging online to CajunRMC.com. CajunRMC.com, or dial them directly if you want the phone number, 225, easy phone number too, 225-372-5060, 225-372-5060. Carpool Queen is back, second hour coming your way. We'll talk to Shea Dixon at 8:30 this morning. Shea will be in talking a little recruiting as we'll get the latest on LSU here in the spring cycle and get the latest on LSU football. Tigers back on the practice field today as well. We will have that covered for you and give a little preview coming back with us here in the second hour, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Sat there. I was like, what am I supposed to do? I mean, he was going to...
Shout out to Tom Granning from everybody over here at FM Digital Media, as he is our fuel sponsor. Whether it's fuel cards or snacks, he's keeping us going every day at FM Digital Media. If you're out on Highway 61, make sure and stop in and see him over at Go Mart. It is located in Natchez, Mississippi. It is our favorite convenience store, and it's for our guy, Tom Granning, who supports us every day over here at FM Digital Media. Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz. All right, personal testimony from my trip over to Johnson and Spillers. Shout out to my friend Dr. Chad Spillers for taking care of me, man. I had to have my front tooth, a tooth implanted on my front tooth, and it was a hell of an ordeal, but Dr. Spillers and the crew from Johnson and Spillers made it as easy and seamless as possible to work with and have taken the final product, and it is absolutely beautiful. Learn more online at johnsonspillers.com. Whether you're looking for Botox or you need help in any type of dentistry, whether it is dentures, night guards, if you're looking for Invisalign, if you're interested in implant dentistry like I got, you can get in touch with Johnson Spillers. Online, johnsonspillers.com. 2 locations, one in Gonzales, one in Baton Rouge. Easiest way to get them, online at johnsonspillers.com. Southern Eye Centers, located at 6859 Jefferson Highway right here in Baton Rouge, has been serving your eyes for over 40 years in the capital region. They offer friendly service in a helpful environment with the highest level of personal care to manage your eye health and vision needs. If you want more information, log online to southerneyecenters.com. That is southerneyecenters.com. Stop in and check out their beautiful office located on Jefferson Highway right here in the capital city. And remember, each time you walk in there and you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, Dr. Ann Shaw and Southern Eye Centers will take 25% off of their fantastic selection of sunglasses. All you got to do is mention the Jordy Culotta Show. Check them out, SouthernEyeCenters.com, and located at 6859 Jefferson Highway. All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Welcome the Carpool Queen to the set, who was beat up by her horny friend.
Yeah. I don't know how to like face it. There's a hole. Where's the camera? Right, see the hole in my leg? You can't see all the bruising around it.
Is that a hole or like a blood?
Well, it's a
like a
now
blood
it's
bubble.
scabbed over hole.
So what happened? You got attacked by a goat?
Well, I mean, I put blueberries in his cage, went around to put his food in. I came back behind him. He thought I was going to steal the blueberries, and he lost it. Wow. That's the condensed version. Like
to the ground?
Like, I hope my neighbors were watching. I was, like, screaming at him, like, no, Henry, stop! And, like, kicking him away from me. Not back there, no. I was, like, kicking him so I could get out of the gate. And then once I got out of there, I turned around, and I was crying. And I was just, oh my God, there it is. See the bruising? You can kind of see the bruising. I was like, F you, Henry, and just like ran inside crying. And then I thought, like, God, I hope some neighbors were around to witness. But nobody was home. It was just me.
Oh, you could have died.
I could have died out there. I wouldn't. He wouldn't have killed me, but it was scary.
Have you contemplated getting rid of him?
That's what I'm thinking, too.
I did think about calling the girl and saying, look, I can't.
This is too much.
It's too much with the horns. He's a male. He humps me every time I'm around. Like, he didn't do that to David. He's perfect to David. So.
Oh, it's a
comfortable in his own fur.
Yeah, it's an alpha thing.
Yeah. It is an alpha thing, and I'm upset about it. So
no more blueberries, that's for sure.
So you and Henry y'all are in the outs right now. Y'all in the outs right now.
We're on the outs right now.
It's all right, Henry. If you're a true goat, bro, you'll be able to get yourself in there, bro.
We've all been in the doghouse.
That's right.
It's true. He has been looking at me in a sad way and just going, meh, 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 meh.
Oh, is that the noise that he makes?
Yeah. When he's like sweet, he goes, meh, 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 meh.
Oh, so he's trying to get back in.
Baby.
Sorry. That wasn't me.
Baby. It's just about the blueberries. I thought you were getting about blueberries.
It is about the blueberries.
Mark Cumbie McMahon will be the next Jay Wright, in my opinion. Brandon Dixon, didn't he go 31? Didn't he go 30-3? He went 31-3. Brandon. Brian Burgess, I believe LSU basketball is in very good hands with Coach Mike McMahon. Matt McMahon.
That's nice, Brian. Very positive.
CM Farr, Jordy, this new coach is Woodward's hire. It looks like Scott's hire at A&M in Buzz is not going too well. Are you concerned that McMahon may not be the guy because Scott hired him? I'm not. I do believe it. Look, first off, Mark Cumbie, if McMahon is the next Jay Wright, what an enormous grand slam that Scott Woodward has connected on here in this basketball hire. Because look up, and Jay Wright's got Villanova back into a Final Four. Right, he's there with Bill Self, Mike Krzyzewski, and North Carolina's first-year head coach Hubert Davis, all blue bloods. I consider now Villanova a blue blood because if you remember the story of Villanova a couple of years back, or just what was it, about 5-6 years ago, was that Jay Wright couldn't win the big one.
Right.
Couldn't get to the game. Couldn't get past the Sweet 16. Couldn't get past the Elite Eight. Now look at him. Going for another national championship. Back in another Final Four. Definitely the best dressed of the four. And
I think that's a knock, too.
What do you mean?
I don't like that. I mean, if we were either in the Will Wade corner or you don't have to wear a three-piece suit. He does look good.
He doesn't need to, and he doesn't wear a three-piece like Buzz does. He doesn't go above and beyond. I think what makes Jay cool in his look is that he pulls off just the simple suit very well. Now, his suit is very high dollar. I'm saying that he's wearing high-money suits. But he's not wearing like the three-piece and the vest, and he's not taking the jacket off and just rocking the vest like Buzz is, where Buzz wants you to see his watch, his tie, his vest, his belt. He wants you to see all of his accessories, right? Like Jay just kind of keeps a double-breasted coat buttoned up with a nice little, little bitty knot on his tie. It doesn't sweat during the game. I mean, if I tried to coach a basketball game in a suit, I would look like Bruce Pearl.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, like I would be first. I would ruin the suit. I would never be able to wear the suit again because I would just sweat profusely through it.
You're not a sweater though.
I am in like that type of environment. I mean, like we're competing, we're walking the sidelines. I'm heated. I'm in it. You know what I mean? Like in a suit.
How can you not?
Like Jay Wright keeps his suit buttoned.
Yeah, that's strong.
So you would be a slacks like.
Coach, I would be
little polo,
Lululemon pants. Give me the dry fit basketball tee. Give me maybe a quarter zip, and let's coach the game. You know what I mean? Like I definitely love that COVID. I mean, look at the guy.
Yeah, he looks good.
Look at this guy.
Why are you mad about him, Lloyd?
Double-breasted with the button.
This is just a waste of time in
just
my
too
mind.
much.
To dress like that?
Waste of time, and he's winning.
Well, yeah, but I mean, focus more on the game, dude.
Not wasted time, but like
focus more on the game. He's in another Final Four. What do you want from this guy?
Well, how's that different than Kim Mulkey and her sequins? I mean, everyone loves that.
But that's like I think it's different.
Nice shift of energy there,
That
Katie.
is not any different at all.
different.
This is
Not-
no
no,
different.
I don't know. I think
I'm with her.
I
I'm
think
with her
Kim
here.
has a little bit more casual style to her, though. It's like she does like
every
a throw
game she
over.
has sequin blazers and heels on.
Bro,
No,
ain't
she-
nobody
she
trying to
had the
jump up and down
LSU
in high
yes.
heels.
Well, I'm not talking about heels now. Obviously, she pulls the look off very well.
She
I'm
does.
just saying he looks a little too put together. I mean, I want my coach to focus on basketball. This guy's worried about his suit.
Hey, I got news for you. Your
think
coach
he's
Jay
worried about
Wright
it.
focused on basketball. Guy's a dog.
Someone is
You know what I
dressing
mean?
him. He's
I'm
not
telling you, if
worried about
McMahon
it.
is the next Jay Wright, sign us up.
I guess. I just like
Yeah,
my
he's
I like
fine.
my I like my Will Wade look. You know,
I'm with you.
give me a
I'm with you,
t-shirt
man.
and some
I'm with
Lulus and
you.
let's go.
I'm with
Roll
you.
the ball out
I'm with
there.
you. I'm not
I
trying
got-
to support everything on Willie. You know how I feel about our guy, man. So where Lester Abear said it's time to take down the Will Wade poster in your
I saw
dreams,
that too.
Lester.
Where's
Are
the
you-
Will Wade poster?
It's a ticket right behind your head.
There's the ticket? Oh, come on. We're not going to take that down. We still have the pillow,
that-
too.
I actually want the Will Wade. I want the general thing that they were bobbing up and down in the
too.
student section, so I
Where
can
is
put that.
that?
I don't
It's in
know.
a
I'm
closet
calling
somewhere.
for it. Yes, I mean I got to imagine that it's not going to be. Don't throw it away. We'll take it.
Yes, we will take it.
Could you imagine throwing that away? How many pieces
Oh.
that would be? That would be so sad.
Whoever
Just
put that together, the
Yeah.
thought behind that is you're throwing that away.
Could you picture just in a dumpster with just his little head sticking
little
out?
head. His general outfit that he had to wear, like somebody had to go toss that thing in the trash.
No one would do that.
They had to.
No.
They made them.
No one
He
would
should
do
have to
that.
wear it on his last day whenever he's putting his boxes away.
Oh my
like,
God.
I'm gonna wear this on the way out.
Yikes.
You should bring a sword.
Didn't go back. Didn't go back to clean the office out.
He didn't.
No, he didn't.
How would you? Like, I wouldn't. I'd send someone,
And this
right?
from his first game ever at LSU.
First game,
That's
opening
so
tip,
cute.
2017.
Why would we take that down?
We're not
It's a great memory.
gonna get it framed just like this Taryn Matthew water cup. I'm keeping.
Yes, I'll put that there for you. I
Thank
thought
you.
you would like it.
I did. I drank some of it. I feel
You
stronger,
Faster.
faster.
Feels more athletic.
make me like tired.
Shea Dixon's coming in here at 8:30. We're going to talk recruiting with him as we'll get the latest on Dixon from some of the latest commits, and we'll get to what his thoughts are on spring football practice as LSU hits the wood again today, or LSU hits back to the practice field today.
I was like, wait, what's the
Basketball. I was thinking about. I was
Hold on,
basketball
how do you
mode.
hit the wood
Easy
in
over there.
football?
Easy over there. I know how you and your horny friends like to bang each other.
The blueberries.
Talking about you and Henry.
Henry.
Get your mind out of the gutter, everybody.
I was kind of wondering, though, who are you talking about?
Talking about that guy that put that bruise on your leg.
God damn it, Henry.
Hey, you, Henry.
Going through it.
But LSU spring football back on the field today. We will have our crew out there covering spring football practice. So keep up with the latest if you're looking for some of the videos to be coming out there. We'll talk to Shea and get his thoughts on some of the coaches on the field, some of the new faces. There is glowing energy on this guy, Will Campbell. I mean, like, people are ready to place him as the starting right or left tackle on this team today from people that I am talking to around the facility. I think we asked Wilson Alexander yesterday, who's one fresh face of a true freshman that early enrolled that jumps out to you. I mean, without even taking a breath, he jumped in and said Will Campbell. Everybody that I've talked to up at LSU has fallen in love with Will Campbell. A dark horse, a guy that we're not necessarily talking about a lot, that's getting a lot of love inside of the meeting rooms and inside of the coaches' quarters is DeMario Tolan, the linebacker, early enrollee from Florida.
I said this. He looks good in uniform. Like, he just looks like he belongs. He doesn't look like a high school kid.
And the
for
latest news of the transfer portal for LSU, I think, is a sign of that. If you saw where yesterday Josh White put his name into the transfer portal, a linebacker who Dave Aranda recruited out of the state of Texas and was able to get him late in the process. White came out of the city of Houston in recruiting, very highly regarded, was a guy that was really everybody was after him. I wouldn't be surprised to see him land at Baylor after some of the relationships. Meatball Dennis Johnson's on that staff. Dave Aranda's on that staff. They really had.
That's why he's going, you think?
I don't know if he's going there, but I think that the reason why he's leaving LSU is not to go to Baylor is because he's looking behind him and he's saying to himself, I don't know if I can play here. Mm-hmm. I mean, they got a lot of good dudes here, including Mike Jones, who seems like he's going to be kind of the leader of that group. Greg Penn Jr. has been another guy who's really, from all accounts, had a really good camp and a really good offseason, short offseason. The guy out of Maryland, sophomore, set to play a little bit. You got guys at that position. You got Harold Perkins coming in the summertime, who he's going to be really tough to keep off the field. And then when they tell me about Demario Tolan, the first thing that they say about him is that physically he's ready. Like there's going to be some learning curves for him making the jump from high school to college football, but physically is not going to be the issue.
That's a nice change.
And when you talk about, a guy like White leaving the program early in spring, it's one thing to announce that you're leaving after spring, after you go through the entire drills and you realize, you know what? I gave it everything I had over the last 3 weeks, and those guys are just better than me. To tap out 2 practices in?
Yeah, why would you do that?
Because he knows this would be a waste of time to go through this. I'm not going to be able to play once it's over anyway. Let me get somewhere where I can just get in, start learning the personnel, learning the scheme, get into the program. Man, that would be that's my theory on it. I'm not talking to anybody, but I mean, you start putting some puzzle pieces together, and look, Jared Small's coming back from injury. I mean, we forget Jared Small was the penciled-in starter for this team last year going to UCLA. Don't put a lot of stock in it, but you ask around the program around Small, he's a player.
I forgot about him, honestly.
I mean, I'm not banging on the walk-on. I'm not saying that last year, from all accounts, Jared Small earned that starting position. Now, I know that the personnel, Baskerville and the people that he was going up against may not be the stiffest of competition that you're looking for in that level. But now with guys like Mike Jones, Greg Penn, and you bring in Harold Perkins coming in the summer, and you add a guy like Tolan, that's a pretty good rotation you got. I mean, that's a nice mix of young, athletic, older, veteran, experienced guys that you got in one unit in a group that was really undermanned at the end of the season. I just want the clean slate. I'm not trusting any evaluation that came from Coach O, because he seems to sometimes push a narrative, especially early in the season or spring, where he'll say a name multiple times and you're just like, I have no idea why he's talking about this guy. And I'm not saying Jared Small's that person. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm just saying it's hard to trust what O was doing at the podium, because he was just talking a lot. And he couldn't seem to really pencil in what he wanted to say. Like his evaluations, he would always mention somebody to where it's like, you never see him again. I know Small got hurt, but he's done it with other players before. So clean slate, I want to see what Brian Kelly brings in. I agree. Yeah. I agree. And we even talked about our guy, Wes Weeks.
Yeah, who is that? I was going to ask that.
Transferred from Virginia.
BrianKelly.com.
That's right.
Another one.
It's a great name.
Perfect Notre Dame linebacker.
Yes.
What's his story?
He's a transfer from Virginia. And I think LSU's trying to lay the groundwork for his brother.
I was going to say, his younger brother's a bigger recruit.
Is it Wyatt?
Wyatt sounds like a West Virginia name, too.
It does. Wyatt and West.
Come on, dinner's ready.
Get in here to supper.
Go feed Henry.
Eric Reed, cornerback from Shreveport, hit the portal yesterday at Auburn, Scott Oldham says.
Eric Reed? Back in college?
Take him.
Take a swing at it. Pretty good.
Polk's Army, Jordy, I see Mississippi State and Ole Miss both had over 36,000 for the weekend. I'd imagine that is at the game. I have been to several LSU games. Is this spring football games?
I didn't hear what you said.
I saw over the weekend that Mississippi State and Ole Miss both had 36,000 for the weekend.
Oh no, college baseball.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I've been to several LSU games this year, including Friday night at A&M. I don't think that they had 5,000 at the game. What's up? I don't know anything about that. I do know that the box and the atmosphere over the last couple of years with the COVID crew has been tough.
True.
What's the
Yeah,
COVID
no,
I was gonna-
they were the.
I was going to call them Nazis. Really.
yeah, that's always. Yeah, I was going down that
I don't
path,
know. I
too.
don't. I know
think
that
it
that's.
mask
yeah.
I
police.
know that that's not.
Yes.
Maybe it's better.
Trying not
Yeah.
to get canceled.
What's that book?
Not trying to get canceled.
For this guy.
yeah, Jesus Christ.
Don't even talk about anything really.
All right, I don't even know. I don't even know the atmosphere at the box. I'm just telling you what they tell me. Everybody tells them to put their mask on. They can't cheer. They can't stand up. That it's lost all its feel to it. And maybe that turned them off last year. I don't know, because I know that it's everything's good now, right? You can go in there without a mask, huh?
I would hope so.
would
Yeah,
hope
you
so.
can.
Yeah.
I think it was because
They lifted
basketball
that
was
last
going
year.
on at the same time. Women's and men's still.
Yeah,
When
thought
baseball
police are
started.
gone.
Okay.
That's what you can call them. What's that book? 1988,
1984.
1984. I read
Orson
it.
Welles?
I love
Orson
that
Welles,
book.
yes.
It's a movie too, or is it just a book?
I
No,
think
that's
it's probably-
George Orwell, right?
Mhm.
Love that.
George Orwell or Orson Welles?
George Orwell.
George Orwell. Orson Welles is the musician. Ugh, let me get out of here.
Sounds like a.
I feel dumb.
Back it out. Back it
Here's my
out.
hand. Here's my hand. Speaking
Get the hell
of
outta here.
Speaking of traveling, isn't the dude coming up, Katie?
It
Uniform?
is. However, I've heard
Big
no-
Lebowski?
Well,
No.
no.
What's happening?
What's wrong with
today?
you today?
I don't know.
This
you
guy.
said the dude.
Well,
The
yeah,
dude at
Judy
Mississippi
Noble.
State, Duty
Her
Noble.
Monkey
jeez,
Mato game. She has to wear
good
full
Lord.
uniform.
But
Good
let me
God,
go
sorry.
ahead and put this out here.
Oh.
Actually, David is going to be there that weekend. So is
Oh.
my ex-husband.
Oh, easy.
How many exes do you have, Katie?
Easy.
All my baby daddies.
Orson Welles an
Sophie,
actor.
Sophie is leaving for Europe for spring break that
What a
day,
trip.
Saturday. It's
Have you
through
seen
school.
Taken?
It's-
1 week?
We talked about that at a parents' meeting last night.
Relax.
Let's make them watch Taken.
This guy.
So they changed the date because Episcopal had to change their spring break, so she leaves Saturday. So I will not, over my dead body, will I be missing her departure and taking her to the airport.
Oh, so you're
She'll
backing
leave
out of
for
the
10
bet.
days. I have to.
She's backing out.
I have no
Back it
choice.
out.
You've been
I mean, I
around
hate
Jordy
to
for
do it.
too long.
Hey,
I mean,
I love your style.
I hate to
I
do
get
it,
it.
but
Hey,
y'all
no.
get it. I'm not-
Lay it on.
I'm
Yeah,
not
give me the
sitting at a
story. Yeah,
baseball
yeah, yeah.
game
Lay it
while
on.
my kid is
I
like
gotcha.
making her
You
way
have to wear the uniform to the
gotcha.
airport.
Fine,
So,
give me
you
a
know what?
uniform, though. Nobody
Here's the
has
deal.
given me one.
We're just gonna wear it to an LSU football game.
Yeah,
now.
that's what I was
Okay.
going to say.
Now we've
That's
switched
fine.
it to
I
Baton
don't
Rouge.
want to back out of it. I just
Sure. No, I get
absolutely
it.
have
No.
to.
I love what
I
you're doing
mean,
here. I love what you're doing
I'm
here.
serious. Y'all
Yeah.
know
She
it's
she got the
Sophie.
trip
Just kick
rescheduled
that
for
can down.
Absolutely. What
Hey,
the
but I'll
hell?
get it in football season. I promise. You know what I mean? Just kick that can down, and then we get to
I
football
swear,
season. You
y'all,
know
I
what?
would have gladly done it. I
An
would
unannounced
have.
fall break from Episcopal. We're sending her back to Europe for a week. What do you want me to do? She wants to go to
Sorry.
Australia. I mean, yeah, what do you want me to do? I'm not going to let her fly. She can't drive to the airport by herself. I got to send her off.
Y'all know that I would follow through on this bet. This is a big deal, though, so I do have to.
Are you nervous about her
Yeah, I'm very
getting taken?
nervous.
I'm nervous.
Very nervous.
I'm
It's
nervous.
10 days.
How old is she?
I have third-hand anxiety
She's
for you.
14.
She's going by herself?
No, indeed.
No. I didn't mean by herself,
No.
but like without.
Who's the
There
Parents?
chaperone?
there are two teachers, the school nurse who I'm friends with,
school
and another
nurse.
parent.
No.
Well, she has a kid in the grade as well.
The
How many
school
people are
teachers and the
going?
school nurse
It's
on the
about,
parents'
It's
dimes.
about 20.
Think I give a damn
kids.
about your kids?
20 kids and 3 adults?
No, 4 adults, 20 kids.
5 each?
But
That's
they're
not enough.
9th through 12th grade.
Oh, this is fucked.
Where's your crew? Where's your crew? I got no
No
idea.
clue.
I got no
Her
idea.
red wine all over me. I'm having
I got no.
carbonara
I got no
again.
clue. She said she was catching a train to Iceland.
I have a
No.
particular set of skills.
Yeah. And they have a tour guide like person with them too.
What's the
but
time
yes,
change?
I'm nervous. What is that, like 6 hours difference? I think.
I think it's
in
8.
Paris?
Is it 8?
Is it 8? Maybe. Well, they're going to Italy and France, so
Oh
I don't know
my
if that.
god.
What a
know.
trip.
I did this in high school.
10
and
days?
Yeah, but not at
Yeah.
14.
How do you
Were
jam all this
14?
into
I
10
was
days?
16.
Yeah, you would rather. Oof.
How many's in the crew? You said 20?
Oh,
What a great
yes.
crew. What a great trip.
It is going to be a great trip.
9th to
She's
12th
super
grade?
Yeah,
excited,
suitcase full of Plan
Good
B.
lord.
She's super Y'all, it's freaking me out.
It's romantic.
What? Stop.
I remember my first time. No, it was in Paris.
Lloyd.
My mom was in a
I
Monkey
hope her
Mountain
dad
church.
is listening right now because
Judy Noble.
he's on his way up here to beat you down.
My mom couldn't get out of a bet, so she sent me to Europe.
She had to wear a full uniform. I was too.
Stop. Stop.
Remember, daily on the Jordy Culotta Show, we are brought to you by Relief Med. It sounds like Katie needs a ton of it on the.
Oh God, I'm so nervous.
I bet the anxiety. It should be.
Big Spliff City over
Relief
there.
Med, RELEAF med.com is where you find them online. Use the promo code Jordy1 if you want to use it on your first purchase. We can save you some cash there. But make sure you get your recommendation from the doctor today to get Relief Medded up. You can do it. It's very easy. Odds are you will be recommended if you are having trouble sleeping, if you've got backaches, if your daughter is going to Europe for 10 days and you can't sleep on that. Just tell the doctor what's going on in your life and you'll get that recommendation. Take that hit, Katie. Yes. Take that hit.
That won't go viral.
Yeah.
Tyron likes it too.
Yes. No, he doesn't.
No,
Confirmed.
Confirmed.
I feel like he's watching over me.
As
It
he
looks
should
like
be.
he's a part of the wall.
It does.
Which is awesome.
It does.
He does.
It's tough to rate Mark Verrett's work here at the
really
studio, but it's also it's also tough not to put that in the top slot.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, AK,
I mean,
I
it
see
is.
you there.
Yeah, and
It's
AK is
amazing.
beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Free him.
Free him.
He'll be freed.
I know, but then you see this guy, and it's
Yeah.
like, whoa.
It looks like it's on the wall. That's what makes
It
it.
does.
Yes. Aside from
It
the
is
fact
amazing.
When he turned the corner yesterday, even Tyron was kind of like, "Wow, this is
that it is cool. Shit. It's big.
yeah,
Haha.
Almost the same size as him.
Almost the same size as
damn
him.
right it is,
I
Badger."
do. I love this spot, though. I like that he's watching it.
Didn't the Badger have some? Didn't he have some? I think he had some dick pics hit the.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it
We
like.
looked at
We
him.
showed
I
him
think
to
it,
HR.
I think it like peak Badger status.
Yeah.
We don't
They
know
hit.
if it was him, though. We looked
Ah.
at him last week, and I was like,
If it were me, I would
oh.
claim them.
All day, all day.
Didn't seem
Wait,
real.
wait, what-
It
what
didn't
happened?
seem real.
A man has got a tripod.
Got it. Hammer.
Tripod. I mean, it is. You wonder why somebody 5'8", 170 pounds can walk around like he's 6'4", 250 on an NFL field. Google Tyron Matthew 2011 and you'll have your answer.
Don't do it at work.
My guy's swinging an elephant dick down there, brother.
It's targeting.
I mean, it is.
Leading with the crown of the
It
helmet.
is offensive. I mean, like,
It was frightening.
Yes.
It was frightening.
that's why we've got the helmet right here.
Oh my god.
Look below the table.
Yes. And it helps that he's like 5'9".
That's what I'm saying.
It's just all.
That's what I'm saying.
It's half his body.
Just, could you imagine?
Uses a
Just
kickstand.
like, my God.
When did y'all look at this? So, why
I looked
are
at-
we looking
I
at
looked at
this?
it.
We were
I looked at
working.
it back in 2011.
Yeah.
She must have been in class. I mean, we had it up on the big screen right here.
Got you all flustered.
Yeah, Katie's
very
nervous right
flustered
now.
from
The
the
screen it
whole
would
thing.
fit on.
You're up to Tyron's
Yes.
Yes.
unit.
Unit. His badger.
The Badger.
Badger.
That's the honey badger.
All right, we're going to talk to Shea Dixon coming up here in 10 minutes.
Well, ask him about it.
Yeah, ask him about it.
Shea covered it. Did you see my tooth?
Have you met Emily?
Bro,
We didn't see your teeth.
yesterday was
They're all
supposed to be
good?
the
The day, huh?
was supposed to be it.
You
What
didn't
happened?
do it?
And when I got there, the final mold
Cast.
was one of them was a little off. They had space problems, and he said it would be a food issue. I said, Doc, let's get this thing done, man. Get me out of here. He said,
Oh,
Jordy.
you were on top of it? You were like, I want it to
He
happen.
said, Jordy.
Like food would get in there.
Yeah, right. He
Yeah,
said,
you don't
Jordy,
want that.
this is
It's life or death.
well, and this is a lifelong decision you're making here. I mean, he said for one more dentist appointment. I mean, think about this.
Yeah.
One more for the rest of your life to get this taken care of, which is why Dr. Spillers has not only been my dentist through this process, he's been my therapist. I've told him nearly everything as I've been drugged up on his chair the
Oh my God, I
last
cannot even imagine.
6 weeks. And yesterday I tried to go in with no pain meds.
I don't
Because
even
I
go
just-
through normal days without
I know.
pain.
It was a dumb decision, but I wasn't in the mood to take the shots to the gum. You know what I mean? I was just after witnessing the shot the last time when I caught the peak and saw the needle and saw his thumb injecting the gum and felt the pinch. I thought, you know what? I want no more of this. I'm just going to try to make this through, get in and out of here, and we'll call it a day. 3 twists of the screws into the gum. I said, shoot me up.
Whoa, yeah.
The fuck
You're like a mother trying to do
I mean,
I want a natural birth.
who
It's
am
like,
I?
Ashley, where's the
Who am
epidural?
I?
Yeah.
You know, like she was like, even like, you sure you want to do this? I was like, yeah. Let's just come on, let's just do this. Get me in and out of here. She had like some type of like socket wrench.
God.
She's like, like wrangling into my gum.
Worst.
Do you
3 cranks in. I'm like, you know what?
tap it out?
Shoot me up, man. Shoot me
Well,
up.
did you get the teeth?
I got the teeth, but this is another temporary
Oh no, Jordy.
teeth.
But you're not gonna take it out.
No.
Is it falling out?
No, it's no longer will fall out.
Okay.
It's all one unit now.
All one unit.
Yes.
Do you ever have to go to the dentist again once you're done, or do these things stay clean? Like, do they?
It's a great question. I thought Tyron had great teeth.
I think he
He
has
does have
veneers.
No doubt he does.
I hit that at him with him on the way out. I was like, Jordy, get some advice on how to take care of your teeth.
They got a Mercedes Benz in that grill, man. I mean,
Yes.
just
He smiles a lot.
wouldn't you?
Yes.
It does
I
smell
would.
a lot.
Yeah, he's got a hammer.
Besides that,
Life is good. What do you regret? Not regret, but bold move, no tooth yesterday on an interview that will probably live forever in your career.
I think it's a good sticking point.
Just your little spike sticking down.
I think it's a good. I think it's a good kind of mile marker of where we were, where we are,
And where you will be.
and where we will be.
Yes.
Yes.
Teeth.
Confidence too.
Absolutely.
Coach, just swing it. Even though I did catch a glare one time, I tried to
I
hide.
tried to help
hide
you.
it in the mic. And I tried to kind of keep it tucked behind this curtain right here.
Yes.
And one time I kind of looked over and gave him a
Big, yeah.
And he was like, no.
and glanced at it, and I could even see him like, damn, bro. Let me put you in touch with my guy. Like, what's going on in the back of your head?
At least it didn't fall out during the interview.
That's what I mean. I think that's you're playing it safe. Like, that was probably the smarter call
Yeah.
in case you lose the tooth during the interview.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I threw the tooth in bourbon is in the quarter.
Right.
Yeah,
So you didn't really.
I was
yeah.
over
The
the
tooth
tooth.
is in some homeless person's mouth.
It could be.
Yeah.
100%.
Patrick Kimry, Jordy passing on drugs. You feeling okay? I didn't pass on him for long.
Yes.
I woke up and
Well,
got drugged.
Brian BD, our guy, saying that he did something with he had some sort of oral surgery and he woke up during the anesthesia. I think he was getting his wisdom teeth taken out and he popped up and they put him back down. He's like, dude, I was asleep for like 2 days after that.
Wow.
Jeez.
Yes.
Took 5 shots of the gum yesterday.
Oh,
I didn't want to take one, and then I was in there for so long they had to hit me again because it started to wear off. And I mean, just the tooth. I'm not here to compare pains. Pain is pain, but tooth pain and mouth pain is the all-time worst, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, I know that
Tooth
people
pain is
have back
horrible.
pains out there that suck. Foot pains are a problem. People's shoulders are terrible. I'm not here to compare, but the universal worst pain in the world is mouth pain, right? I mean,
use
it
it all
just
day.
it's just it's a constant headache.
Ooh, a headache too.
And your head is a drum.
Yeah.
Like everything that happens up in here, it echoes up top and it sounds so vile. You know what I mean? Like just violent. I mean, it's just like metal on metal. Yes.
He's like, why do I? Why
Shea
is this
Dixon
one-
do
just
I
walked
come here?
in. Fresh kicks, fresh hoodie. Tyrann
hair.
Matthew. Did you see the pics of Tyrann Matthew back in the day? The ones that got exposed on him?
His penis.
His unit.
You,
Really?
Yeah,
Yes.
you kind of are.
Yes, we were just talking about his confidence, where it comes from. Really?
First time you ever heard it.
While he was at LSU, they
we had it up on the
surfaced.
big screen.
That was the
last
first time I ever heard
Shea,
that too.
for his
if I'm not wrong.
coverage,
What?
and for as much as you
Yeah,
covered
Shea, I
the
thought you were an
program.
insider.
I think the Tommy Lee after that.
Okay. Shay was a little cock shocked after Tommy Lee.
Luckily,
Yes.
Emily covers the offensive side of the
Well,
ball.
I would tell you, if you're looking to get back into the game, you should Google Tyrann Matthew from 2011.
You'll
Shea
take you
Dixon
right back to
is
that spot.
Shea Dixon is on set with us, answering recruiting questions and LSU spring football questions with us next here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Remember, daily we are brought to you by our friends over at City Cafe. City Cafe, daily lunch specials that you can find Monday through Friday, Monday through Saturday. They've got brunch that opens up at 10 a.m. on Sunday. CityCafeBR.net is the web address. You can find them on O'Neill and George O'Neill. Been in business for over 100 years. Stop in and see them today. We had our business lunch over there about a month ago. If you're looking for a place to bring the crew together, to bring the team together, to sit down over good food, good people, good service, and great experience. Over 100 years in business.
Chicken parm today.
Check out City Cafe.
Chicken parm.
Chicken parm is a... is that today's lunch special?
Yep.
Today's
Today's
Tuesday, Lloyd. Smoke more weed, Lloyd.
Is it? Nice.
Smoke more weed.
Beef pot roast.
Beef
then.
pot roast, and of course the
Turkey wrap.
the every day is the the soup and salad or the soup and po' boy combo.
It's Tuesday.
Today's Tuesday, Lloyd.
It's going to be windy today and tomorrow, so might
It's
not
gonna
be
be
the best day to sit at that front table.
And tomorrow will be Wednesday.
And probably school's going to be canceled tomorrow, so everybody prepare for that.
Why?
Why?
Another storm's coming, and now they already have us in like
No way.
I swear, I watched it this morning. Now they already have us in like a category 4 or whatever that is, like a
Protocol?
high alert already for tomorrow's storm. So just
Why do these
just wait
people
for
even
it.
teach?
It's unreal.
I don't know.
It really is unreal.
Just wait.
I mean,
for
I would
it.
do the same thing. Well, I know
And then they
why
go up on tuition.
Yes.
You're not even there.
Yes.
You don't even go.
You have a full week of school.
don't
You
even
can go
go.
to Italy.
That's not covered in tuition.
A redfish. I agree on the mouth pain comment. I broke 9 ribs once, but
Ooh.
having my teeth hurt from exposed nerves is crazy.
It is.
You never know when you'll get a sharp pain. I thought yesterday the worst pain was about. I thought that the worst pain was like the sensitivity of the
It
air
That
that
is
they were
the
blowing
worst
to like
ever.
the direct gum. What's going on over there?
He's collecting matches.
Filling up on matches.
Yeah.
It's a whole
Grab gear, bro.
one-stop
Yeah,
Is
grab
this your
gear.
first time
Grab
here?
gear. Grab gear.
First time I've got a whole
New thing.
Cracker Barrel running up that.
It
Did you
is
see
like
the
that.
relief med spot in the back?
No, I didn't get that far.
Matuk's office. Mark Cumbie, 60-mile-an-hour straight line winds coming through Baton Rouge.
Yeah, I mean,
no school for
seriously,
sure.
They're picking up
Oh,
today.
that's no school for sure.
Today the winds are starting, apparently.
What's all with all the wind?
And then tomorrow there's a storm.
Yeah.
Yes.
I gotta know
This is
what
where
I'm
she
getting
shines.
into. what
Let's
I'm
give Shay a
driving
microphone
into.
here. They've already got Shay questions coming in.
Oh,
Hashtag
yes.
Ask Shay. Stewie, you yep. You stay there, Katie. You stay there. All right, we're going to redesign the set. We'll have Shay in.
Redesign.
We'll have hashtag Ask Shay. Get your questions in. Recruiting, spring football, fashion, whatever it may be. Tyra Matthews.
Okay, yes.
Unsearched Google pics from our guy, the LSU insider. How disappointing of Shay.
We can't do that though.
I'm searching them on my computer and giving them to you.
Screen share
I'm
them.
scared. Please don't.
I'm gonna put a
share.
group text message together between you and Emily and I,
This is what.
and send the pics.
Yeah,
Shea Dixon next here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Heads up in the Slack today, boys.
Oh my god.
True Blue Water, true hydration at its finest. Right now, you're only a few minutes away from getting your 5-gallon water delivered to you, just like we are over here at the UDL. All you got to do is log on to truebluewater.com. That's TRU, bluewater.com. The website's fantastic over at truebluewater.com. You can get your service and find out how quick it is. You can schedule a delivery, even hop on the billing system right there at truebluewater.com. TRU, bluewater.com. Papa Earl's, the fine spice, originating right down here in South Louisiana by our guy Mark Pop Norman. Developed it back in 2018 and won Amazon's Newcomer of the Year in 2019. They pride themselves in having 30% less salt and sodium than the leading brands at the same price point. You can find them locally. Look for Papa Earl's at Rouse's, Calandro's, Mathern's, High Neighbor, and more.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you daily by Morales Roll-Offs. Morales Roll-Offs provides dumpster rentals for residential and commercial needs in Baton Rouge and surrounding areas. Morales has roll-off dumpsters ranging from 10 yards to 40 yards to accommodate all of your disposal needs. Search online, moralesrolloffs.com.
Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Ghost Chevrolet. Welcome aboard to the set. Shea Dixon of Go247 covers recruiting better than anybody in the game. Make sure you are following him on Twitter to keep up with the latest of LSU spring football. Saw some video pop from over the weekend of Shea covering spring practice. Tigers back out there
I love their shoes.
today. That's what I told you. Fashion.
He is very fashionable.
Very much.
Yes, you
very
are.
Much so.
Would you wear a suit or Lululemon pants and a t-shirt to coach basketball?
It's a great question. Jay?
A suit.
Yeah.
No doubt he would.
You knew it.
No doubt he would. Jay Wright.
Yes, indeed.
Jay Wright. You got a favorite Final Four this weekend? You care about the Final Four this weekend?
Man, you know what? Well, obviously, North Carolina Duke's going to get all the headline this week. But what if Nova wins? What is this, 3 in 7 years or something?
I'm telling you, for somebody who could not get to the game or win the game.
2 titles ago for them would have been the Diakonos shot, or the shot at the end of the game. Yeah. And then they won again after that 2 years later.
Yeah.
That should get more run. 3 in 6 or 7 years.
Nova
Jesus.
is like it's full of blue bloods, right? Like I mean, like where you got Kansas, you got Duke, you got North Carolina. I mean, they're called blue. They're all blue uniforms. They're all blue bloods of the sport. And I would consider Villanova now a blue blood. I mean, they feel like kind of like traditional big boy basketball. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
they do.
they've been to, like as Shea said, a couple of national championships over the last 6 years. They're now back in another Final Four. Jay Wright has crossed over the mountain of not being able to win the game or get to the Final Four or win the big one.
Now that's Mark Few's mountain to climb, it feels like.
Absolutely.
Drinks his pain away.
Shea Dixon joins us now here on the Jordy Culotta Show. It's great to see you, man. And it's been a busy, absolute. What was that?
Wrong. We used to have this camera set up, and now it's gone because I think I vacuumed it up, and so I had to turn it to this one.
Wait, you vacuumed?
Yeah, let's stop there.
Easy on
Let's back up. Under the bus. I vacuumed it up.
Nah, you just might as well throw him under the bus because nobody
You
believes
were
your story.
vacuuming though? Is the question? No.
What are you doing, vacuuming?
Shea, so we see Brian Kelly and his coaching staff out on the spring practice field now. First impressions of the coaching staff now having a chance to see them lead in that format, in that type of setting. What was your takeaway?
Definitely. Well, again, we get 30 minutes or whatever it is, so it's not like we're watching the whole practice, but pretty high paced. And he talked about that. That first day they went 90 minutes, but he said they crammed 3 hours worth of stuff into it. So I think that the beginning of practice, and Kelly said this, is as much about making sure everyone's going to the right field, that the equipment guys are split up in the right way, that the student managers are, that kind of everybody knows what they're doing, not just the coaches and players. And I think they probably got through that. So they went Thursday and Saturday, and now Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday this week, or Saturday this week. So I would imagine now they're a bit settled in. We'll get a better view, but high paced, structured for sure. Not that other, all college practices aren't, but it's clear he's come with, the blueprint in mind of what he wants to do. And spring ball is a big part of kind of installing the culture. I almost feel, Jordy, that the off season's bigger than spring ball for him in terms of just pressing the reset button on the program. And the players talked about this. Kelly's talked about this. You ask around, but accountability, which maybe is simplifies it in a big way, is the number one thing for them. And we see it from all these, making them do wellness checks every day. Jack Besh told a great, not story, but kind of broke it down when he was talking to the media about how they have SWAT teams. I guess that might be an acronym for something. I guess I should have asked him. Not sure if he would have even known, but he's a team captain of it.
My guy's riding hot right now.
It's a joke. Please don't slap anybody. We're just kidding. I'm messing around. So he's a captain, and Mason Smith are captains, or whatever you want to call them. They're the 2 freshman ones. And then I think he said Jay Ward, Brennan, Ali Gay, Ojolari. So all these guys who are considered to be the leaders, they all drafted, put them up on the big board, drafted the whole team out. So everyone's broken into 10 teams. And Besh said basically you get points for anything, whether it's a good grade, things like if we go to a softball game and any sporting event on campus, we have two other people, and I don't think that counts. 2 other people, from our team in it, that go, and we take a picture and we send it to Kelly or the staff. We all get +3 points. And so, I think it's just building teamwork, building accountability, and Besh said, look, I've got to make sure guys that are older than me are showing up to class and doing all that. And, then they put it up every team meeting of what you're ranked, kind of 1 through 10. And someone said, well, what do you get for being ranked number 1? And Besh, dead serious, was like, not being ranked 10, where everybody looks at you and is like, they're the worst people on the team right now. And he said, too, that when you would get in trouble before you would run, right? And you'd run either early in the morning or if it were at practice, you were off to the side. Well, he said now all that running, or if you're pushing planks or whatever you're doing, happens at the dead center at the 50, and the team's practicing on each side, and it's kind of like you're sitting there with your scarlet letter out there just
awesome,
running by yourself. But
awesome.
Besh just said, look, there's so many guys, and Brennan said this too, that so many guys that he didn't think, and maybe Brennan can speak to it more, he's been on the team forever, that he was like, those guys will never buy into this. They'll never turn the corner. And one after the other, guys are starting to fall in line. So I think the offseason is just about accountability, building a new culture.
How does Kelly spend his time on the practice field? Where do you see him giving a lot of his energy to?
Offense. I mean, I think he bounces around, probably, like I said, those first couple of days, making sure everything's flowing.
Yeah.
And he said that look, right now I'm kind of moving about, at all positions, making sure that things look good. But as time goes on, more time will be spent on offense.
Newcomers, we posted a video of Will Campbell last week that has went just like wildfire.
Oh, I didn't see it. What happened?
Just him in 11 on 11.
I'm staying away from all photos and videos. Your suggestions.
That's a good idea.
You might want to buy into my theory, bro. I got some good ones for you.
This couch over here is not safe.
Easy over there. Will Campbell is, it seems to be turning a lot of heads out there.
Kelly even.
Yeah, right. And talking about him, and we asked somebody the other day, and they were talking about, Wilson Alexander was coming by, and he was talking about Will Campbell. Everybody that you ask about a new face, it seems like he's the guy. What have you seen from Campbell in the offensive line, and is there any other new faces that pop to you?
I don't think right now, too, because when we get into these, like we got to watch 11 on 11 for the first time, which we didn't get to do that under Les or O. So we're at the tail end of practice instead of the beginning. But even then, the guys who are like, Kayshawn's not out there, he's hurt, but like Jeray Jenkins wasn't out there repping, like they were out there dressed out. Malik Neighbors, and then you get to the offensive line. Miles Frazier just transferred in, wasn't out. So, you're missing a lot of guys that you would imagine would be starting, like Cardell's at right guard right now. Tremont Shorts is at left guard. Wire was at left tackle. The center, I believe, was Charles Turner a couple of those days. And then at right tackle was Doomerville. But that's all going to get tossed around. So I'd be interested to see, like, point being, we haven't gotten to see Will a ton, like just like first team reps, watching for an hour. This weekend, we do get the entire practice. Yeah. So maybe then we'll get a bit more of a feel for it. But we're talking about a kid who's considered one of the best offensive linemen in the country. I think played a lot of offensive tackle. I think he could do guard or tackle. It doesn't matter. And is coming, like, high school to college is a big jump. But Neville, at least you're starting out a little bit further along than some other guys. They play good teams. He's around a lot of good players. And I think he came in well coached. So he knows, hey, look, I'm going to come in here and buying into the development. That was one thing when he stuck with LSU after the coaching change. He said, look, I've looked at Brian Kelly's track record of the teams he's had, the guys he's gotten drafted on the O-line, the guys he's developed, and certainly buy into that and dive in head first. So be interested to see how he develops. I don't know. Like, I'm with Brian Kelly. I don't know if that means he's starting right away, but he doesn't look like a lot of freshmen. And can you harness that and turn it into some playing time?
Cordell Music, hashtag Ask Shea. Is there a transfer that has stood out and impressed you?
Well, Jaden Daniels is going to be the one everyone's talking about just because he's a quarterback. Again, we haven't seen like so much of practice that you would be like, oh, that guy looks like the actual Saturday when we were in there. Greg Brooks had a pick and then he picked up a fumble. But I'd say that, and probably Greg Brooks is part of this. When I asked Kelly, is there any position groups out there? Because he's gone through, we needed this help. We had to fill up here at the transfer portal. We still need O-linemen. We still need tight ends. And, I hit him with the 1-2. Is there anything you like? And it was, wide receiver. And I think we'd be good at running back. And then he said corner if everything goes right. And I would have said 2 months ago that corner was the one position on the team that had nobody. They were returning Raydarius Jones and Demarius McGee, two guys that have really never played, let alone started. And, Cage is kind of a safety, right? Yeah. So But I guess they really like the transfers in Jarrett Converse, Mekhi Garner out of UL. Converse came from Oklahoma State. Greg Brooks coming up from Arkansas. So it seems they like those guys, and perhaps what they got from Ray Darius and Demarius. Those guys, again, though, like those two weren't out there repping. They had walk-ons at corner when they went to the second team. But I guess he feels like when they're all healthy, there's something he likes in those transfers.
Mekhi and Converse, they look like pros.
I mean,
physically.
Again, Kelly circled when UL played Texas, and Garner had a really, really good game. And then Converse, you're talking about a guy who started 40-something games already. I mean, he was all Big 12. So he's faced plenty of high-powered offenses. He's got, they're throwing the ball every play there. But, yeah, I think that those two, you hope, I mean, the whole point is if you're going to get guys who are older, that they're helping you immediately, that they're starting, and that they're bridging the gap to you recruiting and developing some corners, and that'll be on Robert the kind of the whole defensive side.
Josh White made news yesterday that he's entering the transfer portal, a linebacker out of Houston who was highly recruited, a top 10 linebacker in the country. I remember Dave Aranda and Dennis Johnson having a lot of impact on him. It wouldn't surprise me to see him land at Baylor if he was jumping into the portal. But what does that do with him leaving? What does that say about the linebacker position? I've heard great things on DeMario Tolan.
Yeah, well, first off with Josh White, I always liked Josh White coming out of high school, and Aranda and them, Kelly and them really liked him. But I think it was like he tweeted out, "I'm going in the portal," and like 6 minutes later, he's like, "Blessed to receive a Baylor offer." I was like, "Oh, I'm sure you are." But I could see him. I mean, he's from Texas. I could see him going back to Baylor for sure. But I'm not surprised because remember, we thought linebacker would be a spot that they needed to fill up with some depth at, but then they go out and get, they hold on to Tolan. They get Harold Perkins. They get two transfers, West Weeks and Colby Fields coming out of South Carolina, Weeks coming from Virginia. So 4 guys immediately you've put into that room. You got Baskerville to come back. You've got Mike Jones. Jared Small, remember a year ago, he was starting, and that was Damone Clark and Baskerville's job at the time, and he tore his ACL before fall camp. He's out there. I guess he's healthy again. Like I said, get Harold Perkins this summer. I think they're fine. Antoine Sampa's still there.
Yeah.
And again, it's Matt House, the new DC, has said he'll be multiple, but the times we've been out there, they're going 3 down linemen. They've got a stand-up edge rusher, and then you've got those 2 backers. So, and that's usually been, I think it was Mike Jones and Greg Penn, who I don't even know if I mentioned at first. So they've got a lot of linebackers. I'm not shocked that White, who I think he was injured all last year too. So been here 2 years, hasn't played a ton. Not shocked.
What do you take away from anything that you've seen from quarterback up to this point? You mentioned Jaden Daniels, and obviously everybody's going to probably focus their eyeballs on the incoming quarterback. But what have you seen from that position that gives you any sense of what the competition may feel like once it really gets moving?
Yeah, well, there was a thought for a while that Walker Howard, because he was coming back from that injury, wouldn't be throwing it, in the spring. So what jumps out first is you've got 4 guys who are healthy that are all out there and that are on scholarship. I mean, we've had a couple of seasons in recent years where they went through the whole year with 2 guys, Burrow and Brennan, and then last year would have been, after Brennan got hurt, it was just Max Johnson and hold on to your britches. Nuss.
Yeah.
So I like that they have 4 guys. I think that the competition, I don't want to write off Nuss, but I think that the expectation would be your 2 veterans are the ones really competing that you want to see who can win the job. So if we're, just for the sake of argument, going to talk about them, I think Daniels comes in and he's just trying to feel it out, right? Like he's the new guy. The other 3 quarterbacks all know each other. Even Walker Howard, he's been around Brennan and Nussmeier plenty of times through recruiting. So, he's going to be the odd man out a bit until he gets settled in. But I think for him, he's just trying to hit the ground running. We know what he can do dual threat wise. And Kelly talked about that, right? Like that he felt there was untapped potential in him as a runner. And we're seeing, Brendan talked about this, RPO's the offense, but they'll be under center, they'll be in shotgun, they'll be running the ball a good bit. It's for a quarterback, you should be able to have success no matter if you're labeled dual threat or pro style or whatever it might be. Does Daniels give more mobility than Brennan? Sure. Does he give more experience? Yes, even though he's the younger guy, he's played 3 years. But I just sense something, and maybe it's just from talking to Brennan this week, that he's dialed in. And I think it's the fact that when you're in your 6th year and you've been through 3 head coaches and 5 offensive coordinators and 38 quarterback battles, you don't really worry about Jaden Daniels anymore. And Brendan said it, bring in 10 guys. It's really me versus me. if I can play to my ability and he goes back, look, my memories, this is Brennan talking, were how I played in those 3 games when I threw for over 1,000 yards. Like, that was good enough to win, and they didn't because they sucked on defense, but that wasn't on Brennan. He played well. So if he can harness that and as he said, stay healthy. He said he threw away all the flip-flops, bought himself some real nice boat shoes, extra grips.
That's what I like about him.
Yeah. Just
he embraces all that.
Let it go.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you not at this point? It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's what I think Brennan is finally just taking a couple of deep breaths and is like, F it. Let's go out and just lay it all out.
Yeah.
Let's compete. And he said that Jake Flint gave a good message to the team and it kind of like a guy like Brennan, yeah, you might be the guy here and expected. And then they bring in Daniels and you might be thinking, oh, they're bringing him to replace me. But everyone here has 15 practices and the coaches hadn't seen anybody. So put your resume together, go out there. And I think spring ball is going to go a long way in determining kind of what this team may look like.
I'm looking forward to the next step that this wide receiver group takes. All of them. Neighbors, Besh.
Who knows which way it's going to go?
Thomas, right, exactly. Where do you feel it's going to go? Because it feels like it's an uber talented group.
I would think the starters are going to be Kayshawn, Jure, and Besh. And, just Jure, Kayshawn, obviously. Jure, a veteran, and certainly can play. And they seem to love Besh, and they've put him in the slot. So you got those 3, but we've seen Brian Thomas and Chris Hilton getting first-team reps out there. Like I said, Neighbors kind of been standing around, but we know what he can do. It's a deep room.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they'll be really. Kyron Lacey comes in, and he's got played really well at 2 years at UL. So I have no clue. Maybe they're just going to rotate a bunch of guys. And, sometimes LSU fans will complain, what's up with the rotation? Just keep Butte on the field, or whatever it is. But I think they'll be in a spot where they're talented enough to rotate a good bit there.
Have you heard an update on Deion Smith?
No, I thought all that was sort of academic related to where it was like he couldn't transfer, but they weren't having him on the spring. And Brian Kelly talked about that. If you're out there, then you're above the line, meaning you've met your requirements. And if you're not, then you're probably below the line or you're hurt. So I would think that probably had a good bit to do with him not being listed on the roster, but still in the portal and still going to school here, I believe. So I think he's just trying to get right in the classroom.
John Emery seems very motivated.
Doesn't he?
This spring. What do you see from him? What do you expect from him?
Physically, he looks great.
Yeah.
But I think that, too, I bet it's the combination of the structure we talked about, Kelly. Frank Wilson can come in and get a good relationship right away with him. Realizing I'm a senior now. Like, I'm past that junior money year that I thought it was going to be. He didn't even get to play.
Yeah.
So I think he's dialed in. He looks great body-wise. He's older than the other guys, these younger guys, Goodwin, Kiner, Trey Bradford. I mean, he's the vet. He was the number 1 running back in the country. It's like now, and it's not exactly like Brennan, but time to shine. And they're giving him first-team reps. And as Kelly said, if things go right in the classroom and he continues to progress, then he's going to be a really good running back for him.
I am really fired up about the defensive line, really, because
probably their best.
It's got to be their best when you think about
unit.
The last 3 classes, the last 3 years. Sorry, our heads are in the gutter about Tyron Matthew.
Lloyd just laughs.
I know that.
Really,
it's these two. It's Katie. It's Katie and Shea. You can't say anything that's even quasi. I mean, I'm sorry, Katie and Lloyd.
Come over and slap
Katie
you,
and Lloyd. Take 1.
Harder.
Ready?
D-line.
Action.
Like the
fake or
D-line.
real?
What?
On Will Smith.
Oh, man, they're great
Real.
actors, but I think real.
Okay.
I think he's just crazy enough for that to be real.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
Defensive line. So you got the last 3 number 1 defensive linemen in the state of Louisiana, Jaquelin Roy, Mason Smith, and now Quincy Wiggins playing on the same defensive line. When Ogeron said that day, I'm going to build the line of scrimmage and make sure the defensive line has options, this is probably what he envisioned,
He
right?
left him in good hands, and ain't nobody ever said Edo can't get you some D linemen.
That's right.
So, I think Mason's in for a huge year. I thought Jaquelin turned it on at the end of his freshman year, and you saw it again as a year 2 guy last year. So I think he'll have a big season. Mekhi Wingo, they brought in, was freshman all SEC. He's been getting some D-end reps, out there already. Mekhi Wingo, gosh, him and Garner, I get mixed up.
Yeah.
Wingo. But Sony Fanua's back, Ali Gay's back, B.J. Ojolari, who's certainly could be the highest drafted guy on the team. They're deep, and whether that's stand-up edge rushers. Xavier Carter showed flashes at the end of last year. He could be a stand-up guy for you. So I do like the D-line. I think it's easily their best. And we didn't, Jacoby and Guillory.
Sure.
Bryce Langston was someone bragged on all the time. We didn't get to see him as a freshman.
That was a guy that you would hear about that you wondered where he was in camp. You would hear, because you always were hearing about Bryce Langston when he was talking about guys that were shining, and then you would never see them in the rotation. So guys like that are, I'm curious to see where they shake out under new people evaluating them, right?
Right.
What's the timeline right now on recruiting? It's pretty quiet, huh?
Well, they've been hosting a bunch of visitors. So last Thursday they got the first commitment of the. Well, I guess they got some commitments that Harold Perkins and all those guys committed. But for 23, they had one commitment, Omar and Miller, from here in Louisiana. But he's been on board since the O era. So I think everyone was kind of waiting to see when the first domino for Kelly would drop in this current class. And last week they got their second commitment, but Kelly's first for him in this cycle. And Mac Markway, who plays at DeSmet, which is where Robert Steeples was the head coach just 2 years ago. They've got Makai Wingo, they took as an, like I said, Missouri transfer, played there, targeting some other guys from the high school. So, and it's a big high school, one of the best high school football teams in the country. So it's a good connection to have. But Markway he's like 6'3" or 4", 240. So like an inline blocking tight end all the way. And that's not the sexiest thing to hear, but anyone who's sort of looked at LSU's roster or heard the interviews, a blocking tight end is what about up there, 1 or 2 on the list of things they had to have, because you've got Jack Mashburn and Cole Taylor right now. You'll bring in a freshman, Mason Taylor, this summer. He's still not a true inline guy, so that a guy like that is exactly what they needed. And I think they'll still look in the portal for tight ends.
And that's what I was going to ask you. You said that Jack Besh was running with the receivers. Don't you see a world where they maybe move him to the tight end again?
I don't.
Oh, really?
No. I think that they like him at receiver. And I think that's his natural. I think that's his spot.
Me too.
I think trying to put Besh at receiver would, does he become the best tight end? Does he become the best tight end in the room that you have? Sure. But then he's going to have to worry about blocking. And then, not that he can't, but then that becomes a whole element of the game that he's got to really develop when. And inline blocking, when at receiver, he just does what he does best, which is just go make plays. And I think if you were moving him to tight end, you'd be forcing something that would hurt you more than help. I think he helps you a lot more at receiver.
Louis Caro asks, Shea, what's the latest on Phillip Webb? Have you seen him out there?
Yes, he was repping at D-end, maybe as a stand-up guy, but with the Ojolari, Xavier Carter group of guys. But I did see him out there. I think he was working with the second team. So maybe I think this might be year 3 for him. Could be a time that we see him kind of turn a corner, maybe get some playing time.
Chili, hashtag Ask Shea. Shea, what are you hearing about the big defensive end out of Maryland? Is that Nikos? He says Nyckois.
Yeah, Nicholas. Yes, I think it's Harbor is his last name. He's one of, I'd say, it feels like double-digit guys that Jamar Cain's on nationally, and you'll see LSU throwing around with Jaden Wayne, a 5-star up in Washington, sort of all pockets of the country. These top 100 D linemen, top 150 D linemen, and that's in large part because Cain's the only one on the staff. Brad Davis is still on the staff, but that gets brought in. And think about this: he's if you're Joe Sloan and you're coming here to recruit quarterbacks, you're not recruiting the same quarterbacks you were recruiting at La Tech.
Sure.
If you're Denbrock, you're not recruiting the same guys you were at Cincinnati, and even Kelly and them at Notre Dame. LSU's different. Jamar Cain's coming from OU. Yeah. And he talked about this whenever we got to talk to the coaches a couple weeks back. But he said, look, I had my 22 class at OU already done by about this time last year. So I started recruiting all the national 23 guys. Well, take off the OU polo and put on an LSU one, and you're in the same high school. You're in the same,
same
after the same kids. And he was like, I've been knowing all these guys for a year now. So I think you'll see them start to make headway. They've got guys in on visits and all that already every weekend, it seems. But those dominoes will start dropping. LSU will have a good D-line class, and I think, Cain's a really good recruiter, and kids like him, but I think he's also got a really nice head start, the fact that he's just going from a blue blood to another one.
Have you been able to get any feedback on the recruiters on staff? It looked like Kelly put a big emphasis on finding that recruiting mixture of on-the-field coaching and development to somebody who could win in the living room as well. Have you? I've heard really good things about Cortez Hankton down in New Orleans, obviously.
Right. Well, Frank and you know what Frank can do. You know what Hankton can do in New Orleans. I think Steeples is another young guy and already is paying off at his former high school. And just talking to corners from around the country, they seem to like him a lot. You kind of always wonder what Denbrock and House and, what your coordinators do is recruiting guys, or are they just more focused on the team? And it's fine either way. But from how Tyrann Mathieu talked, it seems like Matt House is a guy that kind of gets, can resonate with everyone. And Harold Perkins talked about it, doing Zooms with Matt House and talking about how he fit in and how he really liked it. So it does seem that like Joe Sloan is a younger guy. He's in his 30s. He's going to be able to have a rapport with, quarterbacks and that experience, not being out there at 70 years old trying to recruit them.
We keep hearing J.R. Belton and Jordan Arsenault from the guys that we have on to talk recruiting,
right,
whether it's prospects or guys that are making relationship inroads for LSU football. It seems to always come back to one of those two guys or both.
Yeah, and they've got a lot of guys like that. Bobby, who came from Georgia, Sherman, who came from La Tech and is obviously from South Louisiana, Corey, a guy who came from the East Coast. But they've built up that kind of, I guess you would say, room or personnel department, whatever it is. I don't know all their exact titles. But when it comes to recruiting, they all, are the guys who, when you're practicing on a Saturday, the coaches ain't driving kids around campus. That's who it's hanging out with them all day. And you have to have that, right? I mean, LSU had that under Les. They had it under O, and certainly I think Kelly saw the need for it. And JR is one of the guys, Will Redmond the other, that were on that old staff that were actually kept. So I think they've probably been the leaders for that group, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, a lot of the kids I talk to talk about those guys just as much as they do coaches.
Reed Rule, hashtag Ask Shea. Shea, is the freshman place kicker Dibbert the guy for field goals, or is this a possible transfer spot?
Are we saying that right?
We don't know.
Dibbert?
Ooh, we've been calling him
Where's
Dilbert.
he from?
Nate, his first name's Nathan, so just
Michigan.
Nate.
So it's not D-Bear.
Nate D.
Nate D, that'll work.
Nate D.
I'd have to think old Nate D has impressed them enough because, well, they had a long snapper. Now Quentin Skinner went in the portal, so we and when he wasn't at the bowl game, you figured something was up. Sure. But they took a long snapper out of the portal, and they've got a punter in Peyton Todd, who's the number one punter in the country, but they took Notre Dame's punter, as a grad transfer who will be here this summer. So clearly they thought, probably that Peyton Todd does have a future and could be the real deal, but he's never punted in a game before. So how do we get him some help? Nate D never kicked in a game either, and they didn't go get him any help. So maybe they do, they've got some preferred walk-ons or something behind the scenes that you can go grab that's been at another school that can, be an insurance valve for you. But I would guess they like him. I mean, he was a top 3 or 4 kicker in the country. I'll say this. People will say spoiled under, Cade York and
Cole
Tracy. Those were McMahon guys, and McMahon got Nate D, Dibbert, and locked him up last summer. And, even when McMahon retired, he told him, look, stick with it. This will be the spot for you. And he came all the way down from Michigan. So if McMahon signed off on it, I bet the kid's good.
Last one. The GOAT asks Shea, what's going on with Antoine Sampa?
I don't know. He's almost in the Josh White. I mean, they came in together, but linebackers who haven't played a ton, who also were injured, but he's been out there. So maybe he's sticking it out. I think, too, and I'm not speaking directly to him at all, but after spring ball, maybe more guys kind of enter the portal because you start to get a feel for, okay, am I in the 2 deep? Am I running third team right now? Is it time for a change of scenery? These 15 practices will determine a lot of that. So Sampa's one of a lot of guys that I'm watching that, you aren't imagining are going to be starters, but you're wondering how far have they come after a few years in the program.
We saw George Helmsley on social media saying he was going to LSU as a preferred walk-on quarterback. Is this...
My man did I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I mean, it was all over social yesterday in the sense of, I think he was just
excuse me for not being all over social yesterday.
Yeah, well, obviously you were following that Tyrann Mathieu interview.
Yes. I will say that, I always like to keep a couple of preferred walk-ons. They have Tavion Falk has been out there, but Matt O'Dowd was their other preferred walk-on, and then he got hurt in bowl practice. I remember that because they're like, our walk-ons are hurt right now, when it was the whole is Nussmeier going to play thing. But I haven't seen O'Dowd out there, so maybe that has something to do with that bring another guy in.
You're covering spring football. What's going up on Go 247? I've seen the reports. But,
just out of practice, giving some thoughts and observations and kind of what we're hearing. But yeah, we'll be out there again today.
As always, it is great to go back and forth with Shea Dixon. Thank you for your interaction on some of the questions that you were asking inside of the chat app. Make sure that you follow us on all social media. We'll be out at spring football today with the crew at Culotta Show on social media to keep up with the latest on the images and everything that's going on. For the latest in recruiting, get over to Go247. Shea Dixon is the best at it. He's always here, keeping us up to date. Make sure you follow him on Twitter to keep up with the latest. For everybody here today, Stewie, Carpool Queen, what's up? Lloyd, what you got?
Tiger Woods is arriving at Augusta Regional Airport today. Let's go, Tiger. Put it together. Just 4 days. Let's go.
Is he driving?
He's not driving. He's flying.
Driving from the airport to the.
Then we need to make sure that doesn't
get the
happen
man a
either.
driver.
Yes.
Get the man a driver.
Wait,
And don't forget Carpool Katie's wind update. Be careful out there.
60 mile an hour
60 mile-
headwinds.
60
When
mile an hour straight line winds.
When does that begin?
This afternoon, apparently. And then just
Make sure you have a
horrific
plan
into
for your
tomorrow.
child tomorrow because
Yeah, no
odds
school.
are East Baton Rouge education system is definitely going to tap out due to the winds. At
Every
60
time
miles
I say
an hour.
that, people are like, "Well, you should be better safe than sorry," which is true.
Fuck
but
off.
Still.
Fuck off.
Wait, y'all didn't do Tiger
teach
Trivia
the
Tuesday?
kids.
Y'all are about to have
Do
a
it on
whole.
Thursday.
Okay.
You're about to have a bunch of kids in here tomorrow morning.
Teach
Everyone's.
the
I know,
kids.
right?
Put them under the desk when the wind comes through, then
That's
get
what
them
we
up and
did.
feed them and go back to school.
I get a feeling little Jay's going to school tomorrow. It's just what we're getting at.
Everyone's going to
Regardless,
school.
no
Jay
more.
Johnson stopping by. We appreciate that. Good to see Shea Dixon as always. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning here on the Culotta Show, 7 to 9 a.m. Go Chevrolet.
Tiger.